I completely forgot to tap live right until the very but we're on live, everyone. Tēnā koutou, everyone, and welcome back to Mucky Hope Productions. I'm your host, Mucky Hope, and I have some breaking news. The season 50 cast is officially announced, so I had to get together with two of the most legendary across the eras, like podcasters and friends I could ever have. And let's start off, as always, with the beautiful lady on my right. I say across the eras because she's part of the younger era, like 16, 15, like that sort of range. So, ladies and gents, please welcome the amazing Vee. How's it going, Vee?
I'll take it. It's going well. I'm excited to talk about this cast. I think everyone has feelings.
Yeah, very, very mixed feelings. And someone who's been expressing a lot of feelings on the internet recently. This man needs no introduction. Arguably the biggest legend on Mucky Hope Productions. He wakes up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to do amazing podcasts with us. Ladies and gents, please welcome the phenomenal Drew. How's it going, brother?
Doing well. I'm wearing my Winners at War shirt featuring Jonathan Penner and his wife. I've got opinions on Jonathan Penner and other folks that were not casted for the season that were cut right beforehand. So we're gonna have a good time here.
Yeah, see, I thought I'd match your Winners at War shirt with arguably the best season of American Survivor with Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers and the Hustlers buff, Easily the greatest winner, the greatest season.
Yeah, there he is right there. Yeah, there he is right there.
There we go.
All right.
Right there. Well, just before we do get into mix of things, I do want to bring up the awesome people in the chat. We've got Gabe, as always. Welcome back, brother.
Gabe, I was hoping you would be here.
And feels like most All-Star casts are usually mixed reactions too. Even Australian Survivor All-Stars has that with Zach. That was quite a story having Zach. Just to give you guys some context, so Zach is most well known for the first time he played on saying that pretty much that men are way better than women, basically, and the only time a woman could beat him in a challenge was in the dishwashing challenge. Yeah, it was quite out there.
You guys hype up so much.
Yeah. Anyways, essentially the story is someone else was supposed to be on it, but they dropped out at the last minute, and so they got Zach to come on All Stars at like the very last second, basically. And it was one of the biggest. Why the hell is this guy coming back? Out of everyone in Australian Survivor, this is who you bring back. But anyways, that is Zach. And Dolores, welcome to the live. So lovely to have you here. And oh boy, one word, disappointed. Just a personal story about me, guys. My grandfather, right? He was a diesel mechanic. He owned his own like kiwi fruit orchard and stuff like that, family business and everything. It got passed on to my father. He was a diesel mechanic. Now he's a pilot for Air New Zealand. My oldest cousin is an electrical engineer. My cousin, who's same age as me, he's studying electrical engineering and AI engineering as well. My youngest cousin, he's in the Navy doing electrical engineering on all the Navy boats and stuff. And so the disappointment for them when I came out and said I wanted to be an actor, like I never thought I'd be able to understand that feeling until this cast of season 50 officially dropped. And I'll start with you, Vee. Season 50, it has been said it's going to be a celebration of the eras of Survivor. 25 years into the show, 50 years, not 50 years, 50, it's 50th season.
It feels like 50 years.
Yeah, it does, but massive milestone for any show just in general. And I'd just love to hear your general thoughts on season 50 as a concept and I guess an overall look of the cast.
Well, I mean, you're never going to please everybody with any cast. So, but I just think if you're going to celebrate the eras, let's celebrate the eras. And, I think we all want the question answered of what would happen if you have a tribe of people from like series 40 to 49 and a tribe of people from like series 1 to 30. I think that's, you know, and make a very clear divide. It just feels really uneven. But you know, I'm excited for a lot of the people that are on it. I just think it's a little bit disjointed.
Yeah. And how about you, Drew? I guess sort of similar question. Like, you've had a massive reaction online these last couple of days, and I'd love for you to sort of share your feelings and emotions here on just the overall look and vibe of the cast.
Yeah, it's. I'm excited for the season. I'm going to start by saying I'm excited for the season. No matter who they told me was going to be in the cast, I'm always going to be excited for a returning season of Survivor. I've spent the last 5 years kind of complaining about casual fans, which I know is like so Star Wars of me to go off on casual.
Yeah,
the casual fans have their people, and the casual fans' people are Colby, Aussie, Jonathan, all of these people that we inevitably did get on the season. So once my anger had passed of those people being casted, it's like, no, that actually makes sense. You know, if you can't appease the super fans, because the super fans we're a tight-knit, closed-off group. The casual fans are the ones that are tuning in and don't know. The casual fans are the people that don't know that the cast had basically been leaked for like a week and a half. The casual fans are the people that don't know that there are 2 people from 49 that are going to be on the season. The casual fans don't know any of this. You're trying to appease them, which is why when me and Vee were doing our recaps of 48, I would say during the fan voting, I'm like, don't be surprised if the fans play for some things, because we're super fans and we're in a minority. These people actually. So overall, I'm excited for the season. I'm curious to see how certain people interact with each other, which is always what you want to do with returning seasons. But I am annoyed / very upset at like 5 to 6 people that are here. And I won't count the winners because I don't want winners here, but like I like both the winners. It's just I didn't want them here. So 5 to 6 people, not including the winners. But we'll get all to that.
Yeah. And just a couple of comments I do want to read out. Guys, so awesome to catch it live. So awesome you're here, Danica. Welcome to the live. But oh crap, just realized I had to pick up your daughter from D&D in 15 minutes. That is all good, Danica. I'm so thankful that you have made it live. And I'm disappointed in the cast. I would have liked to see a larger variety if we're not going to see All Stars. Well, something that I do want to talk about, right? And I've sort of mentioned this quite a few times in the Australia vs. the World coverage, more so than the season 50 coverage. But for me personally, when it comes to celebrational seasons, right? You know, like Heroes vs. Villains, the very first one, like wasn't that 10 years, Drew?
It was 10 years. It was the first 20 or 19 seasons, and they didn't have people from every cast, but they had people from every era.
Yeah, and it had all the big names, you know, wild characters, you know, across the eras. Then you've got a season like Winners at War as well, which is a celebration on its own. 20 years, 40 seasons. Here's some of the greatest winners all coming here to play. And then you got season 50. And I know that Winners at War was only 10 seasons ago. It was only 5 years ago. But my expectations going into this 25 years in the making, season 50th season, is that this is also going to be a celebration, especially when it was talked about, you know, we're going to be getting players from all across the eras. I was hoping to see a lot of the big names, like, you know, even though we've seen them tons and tons of times, but your Rob, Sandra's, Pavs, your Tonys, even players maybe like Hatch and Tina, maybe like Vesepia, Natalie Anderson, you know, like so many great, I guess, giants of the game coming for like almost like a one last time. Because like, even though Winners at War kind of had that as well, where it's like, this is the last time you're going to see some of these players come back and play. And I feel like Australia vs. the World has done that really well, where if you want 3 American players to represent the country, you've got them on the World Tribe. Same with New Zealand. If you had to pick one player, Lisa is probably the player to pick. Same thing with Rob from South Africa. And a lot of the Australian cast, I really love who they picked for the Australian tribe as well. So kind of seeing that it's not really about that. I still think it's a good cast. I think if it was like season 49, or season 51, and this is the cast, I'd be like singing its praises. Like, yeah, I think that this is a good overall cast, but I do understand the disappointment a lot of Survivor fans are feeling, because I'm feeling it too, where it just feels like just a generic all-star season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's similar to how Game Changers, if you hadn't given Game Changers the name Game Changers, and just said it was just a returning season, like we'll put some random label on it, I don't think people will look down on it as much as they do. But because you labeled it as these are Game Changers, and then you give us Sierra Dawn Thomas, it's like, okay, I don't really understand what one has to do with the other, but fine. It's the same thing. Like this season isn't called Survivor Legends, but it's how it's been hyped up for the last year. And so when you do that, you kind of handcuffed to say, hey, we better do this. And based off of who they had in casting, it's like they had the right idea. They just decided, we'll go with this. And I think that's what's frustrating. It's like, and I've said this, and a lot of people have said this, if we didn't know who was cut, we'd probably be less upset about it. But because we do know who was cut, all of a sudden our anger goes up to 11, because it's like, oh, we could have had Jerry, and instead we have fucking Stephanie again. I'm sorry. Yeah, I might drop that word a couple times, and I apologize. But
that is all good, brother. It's all good. Yeah, because there's something you mentioned as well with all the players that got cut. You know, way back when we did our, like the rumored cast review, Carolyn is someone who we heavily talked about. Right? It was like, why the hell is she not on? Clearly, one of the biggest breakout stars of New Era. Like, I haven't seen 45 and 46, but I've heard a lot of Emily, DQ, Charlie, like I've heard of them, right? So it makes sense why they're on the cast. For someone who's not even watching it, the fact I know about them clearly means they are a huge deal of New Era. But I feel like Carolyn was just such a massive breakout star. We saw on Traders as well. She did such a phenomenal job on Traders. And it's kind of sad to see that she was axed for pretty much doing the Traders. But then you get Stephanie and Siri, who recently did the Traders on as well, and the whole like no winners kind of thing. We still get Kyle and Dee on as well. I kind of feel like it was just like a random mix mash and stuff. We'll have this, we'll have that, but nothing was very. Yeah, pretty much. It's a brain steal season, 100%. And I do want to quickly go over to some comments here as well. Picking 3 people from 48, one of the most disliked New Era seasons, is crazy.
I've got thoughts on that.
Yeah. Uneven and dead for me, lopsided. This may sound harsh, but I feel like a slap in the face to us fans who've watched since season 1. Or I can think Carolyn was made example of New Era players. If you aren't already a legend and do other shows, you're blacklisted. Lots of players who this was their last shot of venting online. And 2 players we have yet to meet as an insult. The whole voting thing was a distraction. The SHF doesn't care about fans. Yes, I said it. Sorry.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate there.
Yeah.
Because every returnee season that we have had somebody from the previous season that hadn't aired yet. The only difference is, except for Winners at War. The only difference is the internet is what it is now, where we know who's casted, and so we can complain. Oh, we don't know these people from 49 yet. That's messed up. When in reality, like, that's what happened with Heroes vs. Villains. That's what happened with Owen. That's happened a fair few times. So I don't put much stock into the 49 people. Like, there have been many seasons where we didn't know people going in. Yeah, and fun because the internet wasn't where it was, where the cast is leaked, and we're like, oh, who are these people? For all we know, these 2 people are the biggest characters that have ever existed. I don't think so. Yeah, there's one that we will talk about later, but like, we can't sit here and do that. We can't sit here and complain about 49 because that is something that historically they have always done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, V, but something I do just want to quickly jump on as well is that all the characters that have come from the season before have been really great characters. Like Malcolm is a prime example from Philippines, Karamoan. He was like the main, I guess, was it protagonist against Cochrane. No one else stood a chance against Cochrane in the end, but Malcolm. For Game Changers, I thought Michaela, despite her being pre-merge, was a phenomenal character throughout Millennials vs. Gen X. Same thing with Zeke as well. Russell as well. Even though I'm not a big Russell fan, like you can't help but
but he was a huge villain, yeah. So
he was a huge villain, and so you kind of needed him on.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. Heroes vs. Villains as well. His social game is still shit, but like you can't help but respect the strategy he brings to the show. Is something to admire, at least. And so, yeah. Any final thoughts from you, V, before we start actually diving?
I'm not leaving. I'm just putting my.
She's like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna go.
Mr. Rogers out there, but
no, I think we should dive into it. I think although the other thing that I'm pissed off about that Drew mentioned about the lack of diversity, and I've got the cast list up with photos, and I mean that's an easy thing to get right, and so to get it wrong is incredibly frustrating in this day and age,
especially with the people that we got cut. It's like, oh, you could have easily. I like Mike White, and we'll talk about Mike White when we get to him. But it's like, okay, Davey's sitting right there from the same season. And if you want to have three people from the same season, Dave versus Goliath, which is probably the best season since Heroes vs. Villains, my opinion.
Yeah.
You do that. But
no,
that seems lazy to me.
Yeah.
And a lack of thought. So
Well, I say let's dive deep into who was actually casted on the season. And once again, I've made another phenomenal PowerPoint. Thankfully for 10 of the slots, because 10 people who are rumored are actually on, guys. I didn't have to change anything. But, I expect great feedback from my slideshow. If it's nothing great, I'll kick you off the podcast and the live. So I'm looking at you, Dolores and Gabe and Danica and everyone watching. You talk shit about it.
My three favorite people from my marathon last summer. All I'm excited all three of you are
I'm very grateful all three of you guys are here as well. But anyway, someone who did make the rumored list and it's actually on the show is Jenna Lewis, an OG from Survivor Borneo and Survivor All Stars. And Drew, give us like a small snippet into Jenna Lewis. Like, why should we be hyped to see Jenna on our screens again?
So Jenna Lewis was actually, so when I got pissed off of the cast, Jenna Lewis is on the negative side of things. And then when I calmed down, it's like, you know what? I think I'm excited to see Jenna again. So she was on the Pagong tribe in Borneo. Besides Colleen, she was probably America's second sweetheart. And then she came back in All Stars, and like her entire strategy was, let's get rid of the winners and the big names. And it worked until Final 3, where she went home at Final 3. She's 47, 48 at the time of filming. And if you want to do a season where it encapsulates all the eras, you have to have somebody from Borneo. And I think that you've had Jervis twice, you've had Jenna twice, but you had Jervis twice, you've had Richard twice, you've had Kelly twice. Rudy is passed. If you want to get someone that you haven't seen in the new era yet, you've already had Jervis playing and yet Kelly, you get Jenna. I think that Jenna, I'm excited to see her. I'm excited. I think that she could potentially do well. So yeah, I have no qualms with Jenna.
Yeah, and a couple comments I do want to read out here from Gabe. Jenna famous for not getting her loved ones to so rough. And
no, get rid of that.
And her All-Star was aggressive. She hammered down divided winners. Yeah, I'm excited to see Jenna back. Like you talked about, it's good to have at least some Borneo representation. I do really like Jervis as well. I feel like he would have been a great pick as well for the cast as well. But how about you, V? Any hot thoughts on Jenna Lewis since we last spoke about her?
Yeah, I'm excited to see her. I mean, it's been a huge amount of time has passed since we last seen her, which always excites me. And I also get really excited about seeing, women in that middle-aged age bracket competing in these games. I think that representation personally is really important to me. So seeing that the cast is celebrating a woman over the age of 40 is always something I'm going to tune in to watch. No, I'm excited to see her. I have no idea if she's going to be a good player or not. I mean, really, It's been so long that who knows? So it's hard to really speak to how she's going to do.
Yeah,
but,
Well, that's a great point you bring up, because let's not forget, Winners at War, a lot of the older school winners, and Nelly Innocent as well, were all taken out pre-merge, right? And with this cast, we've got, a few people from season 1, season 2, then massive jump to 12 and 13 and 18, and then we skip straight down to the 30s. Do you think we can see maybe something similar happening with some of these classic old school type of players?
Well, this jabroni won't be on the season right here, Ben, and won't leak. Hey, there's an old school thing and a new school thing, and it's like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? No, that was Danny. No, never mind. That was Danny that told Ben.
Yeah, it was all Danny's fault.
It was Danny's fault. Where is she at on here? I can't find her on here, but she's here somewhere. I don't even think that it was new. I don't think that it was new school, old school, and Where's It War. I think that circumstances led to the old school people being taken out. And I don't think that will be the narrative this season. Because I think that it's because of the cast of 24.
Yeah.
They're probably going to do 3 tribes of 8. Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to do 3 tribes of 8. And I think there's some wiggle room for the old school people to find their fanboys and fangirls that'll be like, hey, you were my crush growing up. You were my this. I think that could happen. And Where's It War? It was kind of like the circumstances were different. It was $2 million. There was a lot going on that, Rob going home pre-merge had nothing to do with this old school. It was because he was trying to pull the BS he pulled in Redemption Island. Parvati got swap screwed. Yule got swapped. Oh no, he didn't get swapped. The point is, I don't think this is going to be an old school versus new school. I think they're going to try to sell it as that, but I don't think it'll be that. I think we'll have some old school people make the merge.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of old school, let's move on to America's sweetheart. America's greatest legends, the biggest hero, the heroes of all heroes. We have none other than Colby Donaldson. And there's one quote that I will never forget. It lives rent-free in my head. In episode 1 of Heroes vs. Villains, he pulls Candace aside and says, hey, do you know any of these people? And that was season 20! And he's here on 50! What's your sort of feelings of Colby going into the season?
A lot of similar ones to Jenna. It's been a long time since we've seen him, so that's exciting. Again, he's got to be in that sort of middle-aged range, so that's I always like to see that. And I hadn't actually I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm before I watched Survivor, and so I didn't pick up on it then. And then Drew shared the video of him on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it is hysterical. And that would have been ad-libbed as well. That would have unscripted. So that lifted him right up for me as well. That he's just hysterical. So I think I think in season 20 he was taking it all so seriously because he was still a young man. He was still just kind of off. He wasn't the hero anymore. There was all that in his head. So I think if he can come into it with the humor he clearly has about himself and about the game as a middle-aged man who hopefully doesn't really give a shit anymore, I think that could be fabulous.
Yeah, and Drew, something that I do want to bring up is the Superman in a fat suit last time he played. You know, he was the original Challenge Beast, someone who we're going to be talking about. It's one of your top survival players of all time, Aussie, the Challenge Beast, and another one of your favorite survival players of all time, and Jonathan, the new era Challenge Beast. Do you think Colby stands a chance against them?
Someone asked me earlier, maybe yesterday, if it's Colby, Aussie, and Jonathan, who are you like at the final three? I'm like, I'd probably just be excited for Colby at that point. Like, like Colby. Colby is. I loved him on Australian Outback. I loved him on All Stars. I loved his old man vibe on Heroes or Villains, even though he wasn't an old man at that point. Colby is one of the people that I'm aggravated are here. Yeah. Primarily because what are we going to get from Colby 4.0 at this point? However many years, 15 years removed from Heroes versus Villains. And without the Jerry storyline there, like it's if Colby wasn't watching Survivor leading up to Heroes versus Villains, do we really think that Colby's been watching Survivor leading up to season 50? And if that's the case, he didn't know about idols and all this, then it's going to be culture shock walking into 2025. And it's like, oh man, we've got safety without powers. We've got all of this stuff. I prefer him over Jonathan and Aussie. And that's just because his season came first, basically. But I'm not excited for Colby. I hope that I'm proven wrong, that he actually does anything that I'm excited about. But like, I refer to him as the Great White Hope, and he's not the only person I'm going to refer to that as we go through this. But I'm good. I'm good on seeing Colby again.
Yeah, I do think that there are other players like Malcolm, as someone we talked about. I probably would have preferred seeing him over a Colby. You know, because it's exactly what you said. What's Colby going to bring?
And
exactly. But at least with Malcolm, like there's still hope that because he likes to swing big, right? He likes to make big moves. And so there's at least some excitement there on what is Malcolm going to bring this time around, right? Because he was sort of taken out before he could really get the ball rolling in game changers. But it's like, with Colby, it doesn't matter if he is first out or makes it all the way to day 26. Like, I'm not expecting anything from him apart from just being like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Colby." You know, I'm just like the cheese.
That is a great yes. Yeah. What's up, guys? I'm Colby.
I'm Colby. Yeah, that's literally all I'm expecting from him. And as Gabe says here, Colby's a nice guy, but strategy is not for him. The biggest move he was part of was the Siri blindside. That's it. And that wasn't even his move. That was Tom Westman and JT's move. He was just there. And so, yeah, I don't know.
I hope he does become the new Rudy. Like, yeah. I really hope we see that Curb Your Enthusiasm Colby, who just doesn't take any of it seriously whatsoever and just curmudgeons around the island and gets to the final three for some reason and is just grump because he's got nothing left to prove. In season 20, he still had that pride of being the challenge. He's not gonna be the challenge beast now.
Yeah. He can't be.
So what? He's got nothing left to prove. He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I really hope that brings out the humor in him, and he doesn't take any of it seriously. I'd love to see it. And again, middle-aged, sitting on an island is far more interesting to me than a 20-year-old sitting on an island.
Yeah, and don't forget, V, he's got some bad knees.
His knees have got to be destroyed by now.
Drink every time you hear the word knees.
Hey.
So let me just quickly run to the liquor shop. I'll be right back. It'll be just 10 minutes. You guys talk about Colby for 10 minutes. I'll be right back.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited. If he sits like a lump and doesn't say anything, then I'll be cross. But if you got to play into the age. You got to play into the fact that, like, what have you got to prove? What have you got to prove now?
Yeah, I do actually hope he finds every single but we advantage. He keeps on going on the journeys, and he's like, "What? I don't have a vote for the whole season." Yeah.
I hope he gets the end like Eva, but grumpy, like a grumpy old man, but just sitting on all these advantages, not really needing to work for what he's got, and just like, I'm at the end. I don't know.
Yeah. I want it to be a thing where at the final 10, he's got like guaranteed immunity, not like an idol, but he just has advantages where he just can't get voted out with. Like 10 knowledge is power advantages. He's like, well, okay, I'm just gonna keep on going.
And people want to work with him, and he's like, I don't actually care a lot.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Look, you just do your own thing. I'm just gonna keep on leaving.
He'll vote people off alphabetically. We'll go back to that strategy from series 1. Exactly. That'd be a nice bookend for the series.
Yeah. And shall we move on to the next player?
Who have we got?
We've got Stephanie LaGrossa. She's played 3 times. She's played 3 American seasons. She has done Snake in the Grass and Traders as well. Played very closely alongside Siri in both Snake in the Grass and Traders as well. And I can just tell. Yeah, and Heroes vs. Villains as well. Very close with Siri. And Drew, I can just tell by your reaction that you just are so excited to see Stephanie come back and play. And I'd love for you, here's your moment. I want you to vomit all the excitement out right here, right now, and go.
He's had a lot of rum.
Number 2 on the list of people that I'm not excited to see at all and that I'm actually angry about. I get it. She was America's Sweetheart and Palau. Oh, no. All of her cast got voted out. All of her tribe got voted out. And now it's just her. That's crazy and so sad. And how will she ever survive? And then we get Guatemala where, despite, not even looking at some of the words that she chooses to say during that season, it's fine. It was in the before times. Stephanie was fine. And then in Heroes vs. Villains where it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to forget Guatemala happened. And we're going to just talk about, oh, you remember in Palau when she was our favorite person? Yeah. Well, now she's back. And this time, and it's like, no, this time it's early pre-merge. She has her whole little tiff with James. And it's just kind of like, I understand why the casuals would love her. I get it. I absolutely get it because the casuals are conservative. But I understand why the casuals enjoy Stephanie. And so for me, we could have had almost anyone else. I'm not excited to see Stephanie. I get that she has her stand-up and I respect people's opinions. But she, even in Palau, it was just kind of like, yes, she survived a tribe that lost every challenge and survived 1 round at the merge. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, okay, right? And very similar to Colby is another thing where it's like, I could have done without seeing Stephanie come back again. This is the easiest spot. It's like, I would have much enjoyed seeing Jerry come back, seeing Carolyn on the cast as well, and even Amanda as well. I'm pretty sure Amanda also was one of the players that got cut as well, or Abby Maria even as well, and or Kelly Wentworth. Actually, no, I think Kelly Wentworth said she would never play American Survivor again. But just another contestant was like, yeah, she's a big name. I guess we'll see what she'll bring to the season, but I don't really have much expectations in terms of what I think she realistically will bring to the season. How about you, V? Any massive thoughts on Stephanie?
Well, again, a woman over 40, that's exciting to me. Haven't seen her since season 20. So those 2 things are exciting to me. So I'm not entirely mad. But knowing who was cut seems like a missed opportunity. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like it was either Stephanie or Jerry. But it probably wasn't. But when we had that opportunity to have Jerry's relationship with Colby sort of relived, that kind of drama relived, So, so for a very casual sort of viewer sort of standpoint, it's exciting to see her. and hopefully she brings something new to the table. But yeah, she wasn't on my hit list to get excited about.
Yeah. Shall we? Oh, just a quick question here from Danica. Wasn't Stephanie on traders with Siri also snake in the grass?
Yeah,
There might
true.
be bonding or tension there. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Siri's the next player we're going to be talking about. There could potentially be some tension there, but I do think since there are a lot of like newer players on the block as well, I think they're like 12 new era, and you've got like
it's pre 40-12, post 40-12.
Yeah, and you've got was it like 4 players from the 30s on as well?
From the 30s, you have 3 from David versus Goliath, and you have Aubrey,
yeah. And so I do think that there's a chance that these older school players might stick together at least initially, but once people start getting to know everyone, then that's where you'll get the whole thing of, can I really trust Siri? She was a traitor. My God. Imagine explaining traitors to Colby.
Yeah. Imagine explaining traitors to Colby. And over his small Texan brain. No offense to people from Texas.
Yeah, and her and Colby will probably align. Yeah, I can see that happening. But let's talk about the great Siri. I feel really sad I forgot to swap out the photo to Australia vs. the World one, just to slap Jeff in the face. But Siri's here. And, Drew, we recently went live to talk about the World Tribe and Siri's chances. And the conversation that did come up was, if Siri's on season 50, is it because my dream came true and she got medically evacuated right at the very end when she was destined to win? Or does she not do very well on the show? Do you think that's still potentially the case and that's why she's here on 50? Or
I think she's on 50 because you have to have. I'm very lukewarm. Like I've never said this about Serena any other. I'm happy that she's here. She's one of the people that I'm excited to hear. I'm lukewarm on her because we've gotten a lot of Siri post-COVID. We've gotten her on Big Brother. We've gotten her on Traders, Snake in the Grass too, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get her with Australia versus the World. I will always root for Siri. I'll always root for Siri. But at this point, it's kind of like, if she doesn't win, what was the point?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, what fun way are we going to watch Siri lose this time for us to continue to put her on this pedestal of, she's the greatest player to never win the game. Unless she wins the game, the narrative will just continue to be, oh, man, do you remember that time that she got fucking whatever out of the game this time? Because they decided to bring her. So that's my opinion on Serena. It's like, I'm happy she's here. I'm always gonna be excited, but it's like, unless she wins the game or at least makes it to the end with the potential of winning the game, it's like, she's. I told you guys before we went live. One of my friends said, Emily Flippin's gonna vote her out, and the world's gonna hate Emily Flippin. It's like, I won't. It's fine. I'm glad she's here.
Yeah. I do just want to quickly bring up, she rocked tractors. I'd watch a show about tractors.
She did in fact rock traders. She did rock traders. She rocked tractors.
I don't know what happened there.
That took you a second, Drew.
I told you it's gonna be a night, but she rocked tractors and she definitely rocked traders. So
I would watch a show about tractors. Like in New Zealand, we've got a show called Country Calendar, with pretty much just a whole bunch of farmers and stuff. And autocorrect, we got you, brother. Yeah, we got you. We don't talk about tractors. Oh my gosh, but with Siri, she's someone where it's like you kind of needed her, like on this cast on any sort of like season 50, no matter what the theme of the season was going to be. I'm pretty sure the season's been called in the hands of the fans, and what a bigger fan favorite than Siri, right? I do understand the feeling that Gabe brings up here, where if she doesn't win, please tell me this is the last time. Because how much of Siri do you really need? I know a lot of people feel this way about.
You have.
Exactly, but I know a lot of people feel this way about Boston Rob and Parvati and Sandra as well. Where how many times we really need to see them over and over again? You know what I mean? Like we've seen Siri's magic so many different times, and it's always so cool to watch. It really is. But how many times does Siri being Siri start to become a little bit fatigued and tiring? It's like, oh, okay, sort of like, here we go. Similar with Rob and Winners at War, how he tried putting the same stuff he did in Redemption Island. It's like, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Right? So my only concern is that with Siri being on season 50, since she is such a massive name for the cast, someone who's like a true Mount Rushmore player, does this necessarily mean that she's going to be an early target? Or like, once again, similar to Game Changers, where it's like, yeah, we're going to keep her around because she's never going to win the final challenge.
Fate,
that makes sense.
Fate will vote her out of the game.
Yeah. The Survivor gods will decide a new way.
The Survivor gods will decide, hey, we can't have this. Get rid of her. Let's metaback her. Let's whatever the fuck. Sorry. Like it's just
Yeah, I agree, Gabe. He's drinking hard, and we're not even halfway through the cast yet. But I mean, there's not really much really sound Siri. I'm very excited to see her on Australia versus the World. I think we talked about Drew, where she is someone who's probably in the best position out of the Americans to go really far in terms of the World Tribe. I can see her winning that season. I think the chances for her winning the season are slightly less just because more Americans are definitely going to know who she is and what she's capable of, whereas there's a chance that there might be some players on the Australian tribe, like Kirby, who hasn't seen a single episode of Survivor before. She's not going to know who Siri is, so she might be like, oh, yeah, I'll go in with her. Why not? So there's my personal fears about Siri. But how about you, V? Any thoughts on Siri?
Yeah, hopefully she's coming off a win from Australian Survivor, but I just don't think they're going to let her get anywhere. I think if she gets to the final three, I think Danica said it, like she wins on principle alone. Like that's I think is going to make her a huge target. I don't think people are going to let her get to the end.
Yeah, because
she's too much of a favorite to win. So I think she's just going to be targeted early on.
Yeah, Drew has gone to a personal run. And while we're waiting for him, what are your thoughts on having more OG cast member versus the rumor that season 50 would be the all-star of recent seasons 49 to 49? I personally would like, I guess
do one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know we might have chatted about this a little bit last night, V, when I was, complaining how much I hate editing. But yeah, I definitely do think we're missing out on another returning player season in between because there's a lot of players, especially from the 30s, who I'm sad not to see make it on, who haven't won. Like Dominic, for example, who've missed a cut. So
when Drew pointed out, and I just looked at it all in front of me, 12 between 1 and 40. And 12 between 40 and 49 is crazy. That should be, new era versus the world kind of thing, or, something like that. Why it wouldn't be spread out evenly to give it a real sort of new era versus mid era versus old era, or just a new era, even if it's like 30 to 50, like a all stars from 30 to 50 or something, like something where it's a little bit more clear about who are we showcasing here, because it's not really seasons, it's not really new era. Well, it's definitely not new era, it's definitely not old era, it's definitely not legends, because we kind of did legends with Winners at War. Like they did having Rob and Parvati all on one season, like that sort of thing. They did that. So I just don't know what, and like Drew said, fan favorites, not really.
Casual fan favorites.
Yeah, what is the story here? What are they trying? I know what they're trying to tell, but it just is not coming across. And I think, yes, just doing an all-stars from like, even if 30 to 50 to 49, fine. Or like 40 to 49, fine. And then let's even it up of the all-stars you get across. If you're going to do like an eras tour of Survivor, do it a true eras tour and not 12 people between 10 seasons. Like, it just is so, I don't know what they're trying to, well, whatever they're trying to say, they're not doing it effectively. It is so higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah. And, Dolores V, your On Target's going to turn into New Era versus OG, not advertised it that way, but will turn out to be like that. Essentially, Drew, what we're talking about is this amazing commentary from Ben, where it's what's our thoughts on having more OG cast member since season 50 was originally going to be like New Era All Stars, and I was just telling V that we've truly missed out on seeing like Dominic. It's crazy that Dominic's not here,
Dominic, Davey, and I already brought up Jesse, Carolyn. Like, there are so many people that, and I know people have been saying it online, they could have done 49 this and 50 this. And yes, I understand that COVID happened and like it really threw a wrench in a lot of things that have happened since then. But Game Changers was the last non-winners returnee season that we had.
Yeah.
Which means that 35 through 49 have a large group of people that you could have done for 50 and said, hey, 50 is going to be All-Stars 2, and it's just going to be 35 through 49. And then for 55 or something like that, then we'll do a Legends thing, or maybe even 60. We do a Legends thing then, and that way we have 54 seasons to work through to get to this point. Instead, what they've done is, hey, we're advertising it as, now that when they switched it, we're advertising it as Legends, but really it's just kind of like, it's just an all-star season and we're putting this label on it. And it doesn't make, it's like I said, it's just like Game Changers. If you remove the label, the cast is fine. When you look at the label that's been presented, it's like, okay, so you're telling me that, I don't even know, such and such is a legend at this point. It's like, no, don't do that. That's what we don't. Even with Heroes vs. Villains, they were able to get away with having like, what's her face, who I don't like. She was on the Heroes tribe. Oh my God, Candace. They had Candace on the Heroes tribe, even though she's clearly a villain. And it's like, okay, whatever. This is such cinema that I don't really give a shit who's on either tribe or not, because this is great. With this, it's kind of like, this is why I'm optimistic, because if you put these people with the right folks on the right tribes, this is great. If you put Q and Coach on the same tribe as someone who hates Coach, if you put Coach and Q on the same tribe, it's like, this is such good shit, and I need more of this. I need both of them to keep on moving on. If you put Emily Flippin with almost anyone, it's like, this is such good shit. If you put Siri with super fans who know who she is and know that she's a threat, this is such good shit. We should. Until we get it, all we can do is look at the cast and say, this sucks or this is good.
Yeah. Just something I want to bring up is one thing we'll know for sure is nobody in season 39 has ever considered. Well, if they had Zach on standby, I'm sure Dan Spilo was right there at the doorstep too. Actually, did you see that thing about him recently?
Yes.
He got sacked from another production.
Yeah, he's for all my Blue Mountain State / Reacher fans out there, he's Thad Castle's agent in real life. And things didn't go too hot on a set recently because Dan Spilo,
he did what Dan Spilo does, Yeah, gosh, can you imagine if he actually came back though on like the villain's tribe or something? That would be crazy.
The ultimate villain.
He is the ultimate villain. Is it going to be New Era versus OG Tribe?
I think they're going to be 3 tribes.
Probably.
No, I think they're going to be 3 tribes.
You'd have to adjust the challenges though, because OGs, they're all old. And like, and you can't have someone who was 20, 25 years ago not be over 40. That's just maths. You can't.
Yeah.
So
actually,
Denise.
I reckon, right, hear me out. We actually, this is a true story. Someone in New Zealand actually recently passed away because they were doing a challenge that's been done in... Huh?
Only one person recently passed away?
Only
Your
one
country's
person.
amazing.
It's amazing, yeah. No, but we had one person pass away who was a teenager, I think like 16, because they were doing was pretty much a survivor challenge where you just run at each other. Hit on, boom, and I think he like broke his like neck or something like that.
Good Lord.
And he died. It was absolutely horrible. But I want to see that happen here. And I want to see Colby run at Jonathan. That's what I want to see. The true OG challenge beast, Colby, run against the new challenge beast in Jonathan. Head first.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anyone die.
Well, yeah, they brought back the sumo challenge. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't split it up old school, new school, because it is an unfair advantage to the new school people. Because Joe would be the oldest person on the new school tribe.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Colby or Coach or someone, maybe Siri, would be the oldest person on the old school tribe.
Yeah. Well, shall we move on to the next player?
Yeah.
A personal favorite of yours, Coach. You're gonna have to bring back that run, mate. Is Aussie. Yeah, no, can I just say what a massive robbery that we didn't have Aussie on Aussie versus the World.
Yeah.
That would have been great. Is Aussie on the Aussie tribe or is he on the world tribe? But he's still representing Aussie. Aussie, oi, oi, oi. You know?
Aussie, oi, oi.
No, but Aussie is back. And, I feel like we're going to be saying pretty much similar things to Colby, where it's like, Coach Drew's favorite OnlyFans creator. Coach Drew is the #1 subscriber. Leaves all the 5-star customer reviews. But yeah, like with Aussie, very similar to Colby, where it's like, what more does he really have to show? He was the jungle boy, he was the challenge beast. I feel like the only time for me personally where it was truly something phenomenal was Cook Islands and South Pacific for me personally. Where South Pacific, he was literally one challenge away from winning the season, right? Like where he voluntarily voted himself out to play. Like he pulled the Chris Underwood before Chris Underwood existed.
Yep.
Vote me out and I'll come on back. And so he is here. He's one of the I wouldn't say he's a Mount Rushmore player, but he's definitely like a huge name in the Survivor fandom. And Drew, as his #1 customer on OnlyFans, I would love for you to express your love as Aussie has expressed love.
All right. So everyone that followed the marathon last summer, Gabe, shout out. Everyone knows Aussie at this point. Ozzy's a great challenge person, and that's it. I look back to when he got voted out of Game Changers, the last time he got voted out, 2016, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And his words going out were, "Good luck catching fish." And it's like, dude, do you understand that no one gives a shit about catching fish anymore? This isn't fucking Cook Islands. Like, we're not. This doesn't matter anymore. And that's something that Aussie and a few of these other players, where it's like they're so programmed from their first couple of seasons, that's what the game is going to be like, that when you get to season 34 and beyond, it's like, oh yeah, people still care about this. No one cares that you catch fish. No one cares. So Aussie is one of the people. I'll pull up Francesca. I'll eat this rock, this invisible rock in my hand. If Aussie wins season 50, I'll eat this rock, because there's no way that this man can. because he's shown through different eras of the season of the show. It's not like he's played in one era and then he's played in different eras of the show and has still consistently played. Oh, I'm the challenge person. I need to do this. I need to catch fish. No one gives a shit about catching fish anymore. We don't even see that on the actual show anymore because the audience doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
So, Aussie, once again, what are we going to get from Aussie 5.0 that we didn't get from Aussie 4.0? In 3.0, he made it to the end of Cook Islands, and he had a better chance at winning in 3.0 than he did at 1.0.
Yeah.
Why? Once again, it's the Facebook moms. It's the casual fan.
It's the OnlyFans customers, Drew.
It's the OnlyFans customers. Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. No, it's the Facebook moms and the casual fans. They're like, oh yeah, we need Aussie back again, and so they bring Aussie back. I get why he's back. I'm not a fan of it, but like.
Yeah, sure.
Vee, please go. Vee, please go.
Yeah, right, Vee, it's your turn. Share why you are his number 2 fan on OnlyFans.
Over 40, I'm excited. I should just do a blanket. Anyone over 40, I'm always more excited to watch than someone under 40 on an island. So for that all of the OGs, I'm excited to see. I keep imagining a fantasy of how it could go, of him being like a hippie guy that all these young people sort of turn to, and all of my fantasies involve these older players just not giving a shit anymore, with nothing to prove, and.
Yeah.
Like Rudy, I've said this before, like Rudy, just not giving a shit, just there. And everyone is like, it's just chaos around them. So that fantasy plays in my head, especially for Aussie. But what's changed between 2016 and now? I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Which even then, like as Gabe says here, he can't learn. He's never changed. And at one point, Aussie was the American dream boy, like a lot of people talk about Joe Anglin, right? Everyone was fanboying over Aussie for the longest time. And I do think that, yes, he's more of an older school kind of legend, but, with players like we've seen with Rob, for example, we've seen him come on Deal or No Deal Island and Traders, and while we're still kind of similar type of games, he still changed it to match the cast, right? Like he fully went ham in Traders as well. He truly went, like Godfather mode on Traders to make as far as he did. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't have gone as far, right? Because Rob adapted his game. But Aussie's played the exact same way over and over again. And it's like, he's a big name. But like, as we talked about with some of the other players, how many times does someone have to play again before it becomes fatigue almost, right? Like we've talked about like Davey would be great. I personally would love to see Malcolm come back and play again. Or, we haven't talked about him, but Sean from our cases as well would have been great here in the spot. It's another like old school male.
Don't get
it's absolutely devastating not to see Sean here. But I just don't know what to expect really from Aussie. And it's like I can see him going far just because he's Aussie, but I think very similar to Game Changers, he went out exactly where everyone thought he was going to be. The second right after the merge. The second he doesn't win an individual immunity challenge, he's gone. Yeah. And there's just nothing in between, right?
Yeah, Aussie's going to be a fun character to watch and play, physical-wise. And then when he inevitably gets voted out because he's not strategizing or whatever, it's going to be like, yeah, that makes sense.
We'll
check it out.
Yeah. Just a couple comments here. I do want to read out. Me too, Gabe. Being Cuban, I'm required to root for one person in particular. Otherwise, I get the point. I was like, wait, is that what Dolores actually just said? It took me by surprise. Oh yeah. And from Danica, it seems to me that there are very few people of color from the OGs, and half the new school players are people of color. It's like they filled the quota with the second half, lots of players to choose from pre-40. 100%.
But they didn't fill the quota.
Yeah, no, they really didn't.
Sydney from Co-Wrong. Like there are so many people that they could have done, but we have to have Colby, and we have to have. I think Coach will be next on this list. We have to have Coach again, and we have to have flipping Jonathan again. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's get right into it. This next player is actually my winner pick for season 50, ladies and gents. It's Coach. Mad Dog Coach, the Dragon Slayer. Rawr, you know? I'm pretty sure that's what dragons make.
That's what dragons say. That's what.
So so Coach V, right from the get go, he tried to be a coach, but everyone was just like, "Who the bloody hell is this guy?" You know, everyone was more looking at Tyson as the leader, but Coach was like, "No, but I want to be the leader." But it was really Tyson. He comes back for Heroes vs. Villains, where Tyson has that great conversation with him. He's like, "Bro, no one gives a fuck about your stories, bro. Like, calm down. No one cares." And then he comes on for South Pacific, and I will say, hand on heart, he played a phenomenal game. South Pacific. I was really impressed what I was able to do. Use religion as a strategy. The sun has just randomly come out as well. That's why I look super, super wise at the moment. But yeah, like using religion as a strategy, like I know a lot of people didn't really agree with that. And since he didn't own up to it, that's partially the reason why he lost in South Pacific. But I'm very great he's here, you know. I'd love seeing like cuckoo wild characters. If we can't have Carolyn on the cast, I am excited to see like Coach Q. I've heard a lot of great things about Emily. I haven't seen her seasons. I can't comment on what she's like, but I'm excited to see what Coach is going to bring to the table. How about you, V? Because I know Coach is. I know that Drew's got a lot. Coach has got a lot. Coach has got a lot to say about Coach.
I just want to bring up what Gabe says. I want fun Coach, not cult leader Coach. I hardly disagree. I want cult leader Coach. That would entertain me thoroughly. I want to see full Dragon Slayer, insane 55-year-old man. That's what I want to see. I don't care if he stays or not. I just want some crazy on my TV. That's what I want. So bring it on.
Yeah, I want Coach to be in a swing vote position again, and for people to be like, "Please don't vote me out." It's okay. I'm going to do a quick pray, and if you get voted out, it wasn't my decision. It was God's decision to Yeah. All right, Drew. I know you're revved up and ready. Tell me why your fellow coach is also going to win season 50.
He's not. It is just, we're not going to play that game. We're not doing that. We're not playing. It wasn't until this week that I found out that people like. I always thought that Coach fans were like they were tongue in cheek, like, "Oh yeah, we like Coach." It wasn't until this week that I realized, oh man, people actually like Coach, and they're being serious about it. Like this is a real thing that actually exists. Token Sheen's, he was a fun character. His time on Exile, great episode, one of the greatest episodes of Survivor of all time.
Yeah,
Heroes vs. Villains is my favorite version of Coach because he doesn't outstay his welcome. Tyson calls him out on his stupid shit. He gets voted out. Rob calls him a little man. He fucks off to the jury. South Pacific is my least favorite version of Coach because as much as I don't like Brandon Hans, this man took advantage of a 19-year-old kid who was mentally unstable.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, God came down to me in a dream and told me to tell you to give away the immunity necklace," and took advantage of this kid. And then said at the end and pretended like, "Oh yeah, like no, like I was actually like that's actually true." And it's like, dude, you can't be like. There are some people that are like you can tell they're self-aware.
Yeah.
I can't believe Coach is self-aware based off of South Pacific. If you had told me before that, if like Tokens, Heroes, Heroes was villains, he was self-aware, it would have made sense. South Pacific proved to me there's no way this man like actually buys into the joke, because he sat there at the end and tried to still pull the bullshit that he was pulling during the game.
Yeah.
Russell Hands and Coach, they're almost at the same level as far as distaste for me. Russell Hands is still my least favorite person that's a big name. But Coach is right, like Coach is right up there, and it's because of Coach 3.0. And I'm not a religious person. I don't care that he used religion. Like, I don't care as a non-religious. It's just more, this kid is clearly going through a lot with all of his incel energy that he had at the beginning of the season with Michaela. This kid is crazy. And you're using God as a way of convincing this kid, hey, you should give away the necklace away to Albert. I'm not excited to see. And if the rumors are true, they got rid of Penner to have Coach here. I would rather any day of the week than Coach.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like with Jonathan Penner, he's always been a great narrator, a really fun like game player as well. Coach to me has always just been an entertaining like character. That's why I've always loved Coach. I'm not here to tell you that he's one of the greatest players of all time. You know, I'm not like in love with him as much as I am with like Luke and David from Australia, for example. But I think he's a fun character. I think he's very like a great cuckoo character. And I think for a cast of 50, we need some more of those, because why the hell did they bloody cut Carolyn? You know, the biggest question mark of the season, I feel like. But in replacement of Penner, yeah, it's just sad, right? Especially when you have players like Colby and Aussie in the mix. Like, swap one of them out for Penner.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? As well. Or swap one of them out for Coach. But yeah, like, I'm going to put him as my winner pick just because I think it will be really funny if he wins. Like, if you were to ask me how he's going to get there, I'd have no bloody clue. But I just really hope we get how long is American Survivor? Like, still 13 episodes?
Oh, 13, 14 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, I hope we get 14 episodes of the cult leader, you know, like, I'm going to pray to God, you know. That's my strategy. I want him to find his amigos or his brachachos from the start and just steamroll the whole set. It's just a beginning of Coach. That's my dream in season 50.
If Coach wins season 50, I will never watch Survivor again. And Survivor is my second favorite show of all time. And if Coach wins Survivor season 50, I will never watch the show again. And I'm saying this to whatever audience is watching this live and later in life. If you find out that I watched Survivor after Coach won Survivor 50, I'm a huge hypocrite. You should never believe anything I say, anything the rest of my life. I will never watch Survivor again if Coach wins season 50.
There it is.
I don't even know how to respond to that. It's like
gag.
I can't live in a world where this man wins season 50. This man that still bitches that Sophie Clark beat him in South Pacific when, like, yeah, of course she did. Because you're a monster and couldn't admit to all of your shit. Like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. If this man wins season 50, I will never watch Survivor again. Period.
I'm sorry that I'm laughing so much, but yes.
What's your first favorite show?
Oh my god.
Lost. It's Lost.
Lost?
Lost.
That is fascinating. I love Lost, but I have just as many questions about Lost as I do about Survivor.
Oh, I have no questions about Lost. It all makes sense to me.
I love this comment here. Aussie boss coach and communication.
Yeah. If it's Aussie versus Coach versus Jonathan, that's like doomsday. If it's Aussie Coach, I'm rooting for Aussie because he's at least he's ethnic.
Yeah, so and he's an OnlyFans.
And he's an OnlyFans, and I would be like, "Hey, Gabe, thanks so much for making Coach Drew loves Aussie such a thing. that Aussie went like it would be that. But like if you give me Coach versus Aussie versus Jonathan, I'm rooting for Coach or for Aussie. If you give me Aussie versus Coach, if Aussie loses in a situation where it's final two versus Coach, I'm never watching Survivor again. Period. I'm not watching.
Well, I mean, hey, you and Coach do have something in common because going in, he hates Aussie and blames him for not winning. So, like, aren't you feeling the 20 vibes? Yeah.
I think did Aussie vote for Coach? I'll look it up, but like I'm fairly sure Aussie voted for Coach.
I'm pretty sure it was Edna and Cochran. I'm pretty certain voted for Coach.
Right. It was Edna and Cochran. Yes.
Was there a third vote for Coach, or was it just two?
I'll look it up. Keep on going, but I don't want to.
Awesome. You know what would make this season more interesting if they brought in other players to host the challenges with Jeff. Having some other OGs drop in would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be pretty bloody cool.
A lot of other shows do that, where they have previous contestants come in to do little bits and pieces and coaching and things like that. And that would be great.
Yeah,
that would be good. Getting the people in who are like, yeah, I'll appear, but I'm not doing 20 days on an island.
Do you know what we really need? Tom Sandoval to host a challenge with Jeff Pro.
Yes, bless. He would love that.
He would. Now imagine this. Imagine this, Drew. All right. I want you to imagine this. The Final Four challenge, hosted by Tom Sandoval, and it's Jonathan, Aussie, Coach, and Colby. And the challenge is hosted by Tom Sandoval. Like, wouldn't that be the greatest episode of TV?
Two things. Rick. So Coach got a third vote from Rick. Second thing, have you guys seen the cast for House of Villains for the next season?
Yes, Tom Sandoval, baby. Tom
Sandoval is on that season with Tyson and a few up in New York and all these other people. I said this. I mean, we all did the Traders podcast together. I don't even like Tom Sandoval, and I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I will watch, and maybe we'll cover House of Villains together just for Tom Sandoval. But the second he gets eliminated, we're going to stop.
Yeah, no.
Right. Yeah. There's no point. Yeah. All right, but let's move on. A massive time jump as well from Aussie to Aubrey.
Yeah.
We've gone from season 18 all the way to bloody season 32. I saw Ahab talk about this, where a lot of people were complaining about the 20s, but I think Rob was like, Steve Fishback was like, but who realistically from the 20s do really want to come and see play? And I forgot who brought it up. I think it was you, Danica. Yeah. Philip, Coach, Carolyn, and Q with a little Barney thrown in there. That's a tribe I'd love to see. Yeah, I would love to see like Philip come back and play again.
Yes.
Even Cochran, I'd be interested to see a Cochran 3.0. While like I'm not his greatest fan, it would be interesting to see Malcolm and Abby 100%. And I do have a hot take here. Sarah Easton, she voted out her mom. I've always enjoyed her as a player. Very chaotic. I was quite sad that she was the first one going from Game Changers. But it's also a similar thing of like, I don't need to see her again, but it would be cool if she did come back and play. But at the same time, it's not a massive loss that she isn't on this cast. But V, we have Aubrey, and what a time she's had. Season 32, it was arguably the most controversial finale in Survivor history, right up there with, Parvati and Sandra, who should have won. Did Michelle deserve to win over Aubrey? And then she comes back for Game Changers, which is pretty much purpled throughout Game Changers as well. And then she's a captain on Edge of Extinction, and she's just on rock bottom. She just can't get out, and like can't get anything running. And she's voted out with an extra vote and an idol in her pocket. And this was before New Era existed as well. Can you believe it? But it were 2 advantages before the New Era. And I'm excited-ish, but as coach, I know for sure it's going to bring up, I probably would have much preferred to see Sydney come in and play. What's your sort of thoughts on that?
Me or Drew? I can't remember who you're talking.
You, Vee.
All right, I'll be quick. I'm not sure what else we've got to see of Aubrey. I don't think fourth time is a charm. I think Gabe in chat is claiming that she replaced Amanda last minute, which I think it would have been far more interesting to see Amanda since it's been so long. I don't. Hopefully, she brings something new to the table. That's pretty much all I got to say, which is probably not a great. I'm a bit bored.
So. Yeah, and that's sort of my feeling on Aubrey too. Was like for Edge of Extinction, I was like, you know what, I'm excited to see her come and play. But then after that, sort of like, I don't know what else she really has to bring. Her main thing is that all the fans wanted her to win co-wrong, and that's the main thing special about Aubrey. And Jeff, when he was doing the cast announcement, was like, and a masterful strategist, like.
Yeah,
I can't think of a move that she single-handedly made. I think she did a great job socially with Ty, pulling Ty in, to not let Scott and Jason have the super idol. I thought that was great, but that wasn't a strategic move. That was a social move, right? And
I think this was the second time she was playing. It'd be more interesting, but it's the fourth.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Drew. Spill the beans. I know you really want to. So
this is the fourth person in the cast, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Yeah. Aubrey was my crush on Korong. My actual crush on Korong was Aubrey, and when she lost the game, it's like, you know what? I'm upset, but whatever. She lost. I'll get over it. And then all of these little jabronis online started bullying Michelle, like, you shouldn't have won. My feelings are hurt. And she decided she was going to join in with those people and, like, target her instead of just shutting the fuck up. If you just shut the fuck up, we'd be fine. She didn't. We get the game changers. She says, oh, wow, I should have won. And I should have won. I should have been this. And it's like, well, now you're at final 5 or 6. And you have no chance at winning. And you're the first returnee on a cast that has Joe Anglim, who doesn't know how to strategize or socialize. You're one of 3 returnees on Edge of Extinction, and you're the first person that gets voted out of those 3. Stop. Like, she's going to. My hot take, I guess is she's an early boot for season 50.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't, once again, what are we going to get from me that we haven't already gotten? I'm not going to say she's not going to win because whatever. It's only coach. But it's like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. And there's only one more person on this cast. If everyone keeps track at home. So only one more person on this cast, and I'm just like, actually pissed off that are here.
I have no idea who that could be.
Oh, stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a massive shocker.
You know who it is. But Aubrey, it's just like, yeah, you've gone from crush to I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Something I do want to bring up is that how to replace Amanda, because Amanda didn't want to play with Aussie, it seems. What exactly happened between Amanda and Aussie? Because I've seen random stuff.
They had a Micronesia. They had a flirt mans. They had a mans on Micronesia, and they didn't even last until the finale, like the reunion. By the time the reunion happened, they weren't even together anymore. So like, based off of that, I think Aussie hit it and quit it. Just based off of timeline, it just kind of seemed like Aussie pulled an Aussie. So you don't tell someone you love them at Final Tribal.
Yeah.
And then hit and quit.
Yeah. Like to me, this was one of the most mind-blowing things about Aussie is when he told Amanda that like, I am falling for you here at the, the reunion show. I knew that broke up. I just didn't know what was the cause of it. But yeah, I can see why Amanda is maybe like, I don't want to play with Aussie. What the hell? But I think between Amanda and Aussie, I do think even if they were in the same tribe, she would still probably like kick his ass. I reckon just strategically and socially. Because I feel like more people probably keen to get out Aussie. It's just, do you really want to deal with him at merge compared to Amanda? You know, not saying Amanda's crap at challenges or anything, but Aussie just might be the easy first boot to go. And also a question for you, Drew. Seasons should have had someone from every single season. Mathematically, could that have even happened?
No. No. You have 26 seasons. You can't have 49 people. You could do a player. So if you split up eras based off of all-star seasons, so you do Survivor All-Stars, Micronesia, Heroes versus Villains, Blood versus Water, Micronesia, Game Changers. What is it?
Caramoan. Don't forget best season ever.
I forgot about that. That's good. If you do those, you can kind of split it up. You can't do a person for every season, especially if you're only going to do 26 days. But what you could do is a couple players from each era of Survivor, even 3 players from each era of Survivor, and have people would still be upset that they didn't cast this person or the other, but it's like this encapsulates every era. They are missing, and I think Vee brought this up earlier. Maybe, I don't know. They're missing people from 18 through
31.
19.
I didn't say that, but they are.
19 through 32.
19 to 31. Yeah.
19 through 31. Okay. 19 through 31. That's a large gap of people. And then they have one person from 41 through 44. Like, I'm more proud of the new era than post-COVID era than other people are. So, like, if you have 12 people from post-COVID till now and only one person from 41 through 44, that's a problem because it's flipping Jonathan.
Spoiler alert for his 5th player.
Flipping Jonathan. If you just spread the wealth, it would be fine. But they didn't. It's like, no, Jonathan's the best player we've had 41 through 44. He's the great white hope. He's the great white hope. And we have to make sure that he tells a story about how his father abused him when he was 4 years old.
Again. I mean, hey, I am also a white hope. But and as what you bring up here, Gabe, you can have 6 every 10. 100%.
That would have been good.
Yeah,
spread it out.
New era could have easily spread it out. 100%. I mean, we spoke about it earlier. New era should have just had their own all-star season.
Yeah,
35
to 49.
That's why I think. I mean, not to shut on the season 49 cast. I don't even know who they are, to be honest, but I do think 49 should have potentially been new era all-stars, and then maybe wait a bit, and then 50's the big one. You get what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. But shall we move on to the next player?
Yes.
Also, a bit of a cheeky jump. We've got Chrissy from season 35.
Yeah.
She was on the Heroes tribe. Not on for Heroes vs. Villains, Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. She threw up when she lost the first challenge, received a super idol as well. And she went from being someone who's probably going to be an early pre-merge boot, the mum, the older lady is what they often do in Survivor, to being, a powerhouse in challenges, the main protagonist to Ben as well. At times, in my opinion, she came across quite snarky and arrogant, especially to Joe and Mike, because to be fair, I love the Healers tribe. I think they're probably my favorite tribe on that season. But great character, great player. It was, as time sort of went on, I was quite worried we're never going to see Chrissy again. Even Devin Pinto, I loved him this season, and Lauren as well. Sad we aren't going to be seeing them on the cast, but I'm excited to see Chrissy here. And Drew, I can see yourself. You're pouring yourself another drink. I don't know if it's rum, if it's Coke or water. It's just Coke. Okay. But I don't know what's on the other side of the screen, though, Drew. You could be playing us. But,
no, I wouldn't play you. I wouldn't play you at all.
Yeah, you want to? There we go, brother. Pour some more. Have one for me, man.
I think the last time I did the marathon was the first time that I was like, I wasn't anti-Chrissy, but like, so I have a Survivor crush for every season of Survivor. Yeah, my Survivor crush during Heroes, Heroes, Hustlers was Chrissy. She has big MILF energy. If you guys don't know what a MILF is.
Sorry, I just came back to big MILF energy.
Chrissy has big MILF energy.
Yeah.
Said what I said. Chrissy has big MILF energy. But also I felt like strategic, physical wise, I thought she was great. Social wise, I think that's what everyone likes to say. Oh, she was robbed because of the Final Four twist being introduced. I think that if she had socialized a little bit, and she talks about it during her final travel speech, if she had socialized a little bit better, I think she could have potentially won. Because she, according to what we saw on screen, because she neglected the social aspect of the game and only focused on the physical and strategic part, I think that's what ultimately cost her. I like Chrissy, and not just because I'm a horny mid-30s person. I like Chrissy. Chrissy is great.
Yeah.
And she's one of the people that I was really excited. Don't laugh. But like, she's great. I'm excited to have her back.
Yeah.
I think she's not my winner pick. I already have my winner pick picked out. But she is someone that I think that could make it very far in the game, because HHH, I know, is not a season that people look fondly on, but I think she's one of those people that, like, I think she could do very well strategically and physically again among all of these big challenge beasts, depending on who makes the merge.
Yeah, just a couple of comments I do want to read out. I feel like we're watching Drew do Drunk Survivor, like watching Drunk. It's been a few years now, Drew. She could be a gilf now.
She's only 46.
And
it's not very old.
Drew showing us OnlyFans energy, and she's Coach Drew Milfy pick.
Gabe, I know what you're referencing there, and you got that.
Chris has got quite a sad backstory as well. She's a new sad backstory survivor. I'd like to lean on news stories and All-Star season. She survived breast cancer.
Oh, what a champion!
Such a champion.
I think she had a mastectomy. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm really, really stoked to see Chrissy come back and play. I mean, Drew, you've seen the season more recently than I have, but do you reckon she beats Devin at the end, or do you reckon Devin wins HHH?
Devin is a great wide hope, so I don't know. But like me personally, I would have voted for Chrissy no matter who of the final four was at the final three, despite the fact that she neglected the social game. I do think that Devin probably wins in that situation, though. I think Chrissy always gets second. And of that final four, I think Chrissy always gets second.
Yeah. How about you, V? You know, she's a mum in her 40s. You know, we know you love anyone who's above 40s. What's your sort of thoughts and opinions on her?
No, I think that's exciting. I'll always be excited by that. I think being a cancer survivor is exciting. Sorry to say that's exciting, but you know, I do love to see people succeed after having that sort of rough trot at it. I barely remember her from series 35 because I've only watched it the once. No, I'm excited to see her. Yeah.
Yeah. And a really important question comes up, V.
Yeah.
Does she pass the V knee?
Oh, 100%. Her knees would be fine. Yeah. She looks fit. She looks ready, even though that's an old photo.
Yeah. We got to make like some kind of like intro or like jiggle to "It's time for Vee's News." Yeah, no, I'm really excited to see Christy.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I feel like all of us have the same sort of feelings, opinions, where I'm really glad. Well, I guess we're all glad that she's coming back here to play, that she gets a second shot as well. Same with these next few castaways we're going to be talking about. It was starting to get to a point where I was genuinely concerned that we were never going to see this place ever play again, which I felt like season 39 or season 40 was like a 30s all-star season. They were 100% locks to be on, but just because of how much time has passed, like even a player like Dominic, we've mentioned, the fact he hasn't come back to play again, it's still mind-blowing when he would have been a guaranteed lock if there was an all-star season happening earlier. So yeah, shall we move on to the next player, guys? Yeah? All right. So the next player is Christian Hubicki. You know, underrated moment, Drew, with Christian is when he's sitting with Gabby, and Gabby's like, "Do you want to play with me?" He's like, yeah, she's in the sand. Oh,
that was my favorite Christian moment. That's my favorite Christian moment.
That's just so funny. And you know, he goes from being chosen as one of the weakest players on the tribe to smashing out a slide puzzle in like less than 2 seconds, becoming the biggest threat on the cast. And I just adore Christian right from the moment we gave his first confessional about how he's explaining that he could have solved the puzzle faster than 2 seconds. And he's like explaining all the different moves he could have done. And it's like, you know, a montage showing it. Yeah, I love Christian, and I'm so bloody like glad he's here playing again. What's your thoughts on Christian, Drew?
All 3 of the David vs. Goliath people I'm really excited to see, but 2 of the 3 I'm really excited to see, and Christian is one of them. Christian is one of those people that when David vs. Goliath happened, it's like, well, clearly we're going to have Christian again. Why wouldn't we have Christian again? That'd be crazy if we didn't have Christian again. Christian is the type of person that I feel like people would target early in the season 50, sadly. He's super strategic. He's this, that, he's that, and he's the other. It's like, if you look at his track record, yeah, he's just as strategic as anybody else. He didn't change the game, but people because he falls into an archetype of overly smart looking white guy and has glasses. People are going to look at him as, oh, he's a threat. We got to get rid of him. And I fear that would cost him the end. Now, I hope that doesn't happen because I really enjoy Christian. One of my favorite moments is the endurance challenge that he has when he starts talking about his thesis, and Alec is sitting there saying, "Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Please stop talking." I'm so excited to have Christian back, and I think that he brings a lot to this season.
Yeah, 100%. How about you, V? Any massive thoughts on Christian?
I'm stoked. I would love to see Christian win the whole thing. I think he's terrific.
Yeah.
He was entertaining, smart. Yeah, huge fan. It was only a matter of time. I think we knew this basically from season 38, that it was only a matter of time before he came back. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I would do a few tricky comments that I would like to bring up. So season 55 should be bloodlines, parents, kids, or auntie, uncle, niece, nephew, because some of those OGs can have young adult children now who can play. I'd love to see that. Well, V, wasn't Sarah in 44, isn't she like Coach's niece or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Sarah Wade, right?
Yeah, don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not the person to ask. Drew would know, but he's just gone to do a wee-wee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I would love to see that, or maybe have like the parents versus the kids type season where you've got like all the your Rob, like Boston Rob's here, and then like his 4 daughters are playing.
His kids are getting old enough now. But I've said this to Drew, I think, when we've been talking about season 49. Like, I really love a theme. And I've said this to you as well. I think that's what for me, and this is probably not a popular opinion, but for me, that's what I think is missing from this new era is a good old-fashioned theme. It's usually pretty arbitrary, but for some reason for me, it just, my brain likes it to sort of see people, be some order to the chaos. And so that's what I'd like to see, you know, if we're going to go 50 to 60 of US Survivor, I'd love to see the themes come back, different locations, that sort of thing. That's kind of what my brain is missing. I think that's why, for me, the new era kind of blends all together a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm alone in that idea, but
something the Australian Survivor does really well, even though it's a very similar theme, like we've had 2 champions versus contenders, 2 brands versus brawns, a Titan versus rebels. It's all strong against smart, top dog versus underdog, you know, type sort of mentality. Very classic Aussie mentalities as well. The ads for the season, the advertising they do, it's like, here is Miles, a super strategic financial analyst who's a freak in the sheets, you know, going up again. That was his own quote, by the way.
Narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it just adds a story that I think, and it certainly helps distinguish the season. I have trouble distinguishing 40 to 49 from each other. And I think that is largely because they season 41, 42, 43, 44, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'd bring back if they asked the fans.
Yeah.
I'd bring back the themes.
Actually, something that I found really funny, Johnny Fairplay posted this where I think the season is called The Hands and the Fans, and Johnny Fairplay, like, you know, retweeted it, was like, nobody asked for this. But this is what the fans wanted. And oh no, I've already read that one now. Christian was getting the call back. He was a lovable nerd locked in the archetype. His only competition was that guy in 44 who's hated by the community. I believe that was Carson.
I have no idea that.
I mean, I think it was something to do with Etsy, which is an amazing, like, you know, like company that sells a bunch of like replicas, props, and stuff like that. I've used them for stuff all the time. That's where this individual Moonty necklace from Sandrondo's Sir came from. I believe what Carson did was that he bought a bunch of puzzles and then was like reselling them as like his own kind of brand.
Oh, right.
And stuff like that. And he was kind of like shitting all over Etsy for it and stuff. And I think everyone's like, come on, bro. You know, like he did really well on Survivor because he used Etsy's puzzles and 3D puzzles and stuff, you know. But yeah, and Survivor AU seems very much famous people orientated, since I don't know any of them. It's just Rick says, yeah, pretty much for me. Yeah, the only famous person I knew was Luke on Champions vs Contenders 2, and that's because he played in season 2, and that's the only famous person I knew. But let's move on from Christian to another phenomenal character, Angelina. And you know, while there is a lot of people on the cast where everyone's like, oh, I don't really want to see them again, or oh, why is this person on instead of this person? I feel like the whole fandom can unite behind on we want to see Angelina come back and play again. You know, I don't know if they're still are they still doing the rice negotiation in the new era still?
No.
Whereas,
no,
did they give up? Did they give up after everyone slapped production and gave them their shot in the dark? So it's like, wow, you'd rather give up your shot in the darks than yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Drew would know better than me.
So, I mean, Angelina, for me, the first time I watched David vs. Goliath, I didn't like her and I didn't like Natalie. And every time I've watched David Goliath since then, it's like, I love both of these people so much. I need them both back. Natalie, Can I Have Your Jacket is such an iconic moment that I would put up there with It's a Fucking Stick and like Wentworth Does Not Count, that you have to have Angelina back at this point. Like, and I think she plays more differently than anybody, like based off of everyone playing this game. Everyone's going to play similar or different. Angelina plays the most differently from her first time around. And Angelina is my winner pick. I think that Angelina I think Angelina can realistically win this game, and I can't wait to laugh about this a year later, and she gets first boot. But like Angelina is my legitimate winner pick, and it's because she's a smart human being. Where she went to school, just some of the confessions she gave, like she has the right idea. It's just she went about it wrong, and I think that she's someone that can wash things and say, "Hey, this is how I was perceived. This is how I'll change this." I think Angelina can win the game. I'm rooting for her to win the game outside of Siri because I'm obligated to root for Siri. Um, I'm so excited to see Angelina back, and yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, well, like I would support you in that in terms of if I wasn't gonna go hone in on coach, Angelina would also probably be my winner pick as well. I love that we've both gone for good characters as well. Even though Angelina's definitely more of a strategist than coach is. My only sort of concern with Angelina though is that obviously she's been memed upon so much, right? Like everyone knows the rice negotiations. Everyone knows the time where she apparently almost died climbing up a ladder to get an idol. You know, like everyone knows the jacket story. Is is she gonna be too much of a meme? You get what I mean? Like, are people really gonna take her seriously, or is it gonna be like, oh, Angelina's silly you know,
Well, this is
and maybe
the season to not be taken seriously. So I don't know if anyone's going to take her less seriously than they're going to take Coach or anyone like that. So why not?
Yeah, like I can see people listening to Angelina more than Coach, but I'm just worried that since it's just been memed upon just so much, is that all that players are just going to think of her, right? It's like just someone who's just a meme, not even like a good player or anything, when she is like a good player as well. A messy player, but a good one.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Angelina V?
I'm excited to see another season out of her. That's the thing. We're getting to people that I'm actually like. They've only played once, so it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with playing again. So yeah, I'm all for it. Winner pick, props not, but yeah, I'm for it.
Yeah. Well, let's bring on the next player, her fellow Goliath, and Mike White. And I just had to get this photo just because it's one of my favorite Mike White moments in the season, where he's helping Angelina find an idol while holding a glass of wine. You know, it's just so great. And Drew, I know you're a bit less excited about Mike being on compared to Davey. I'm still very excited to see him on. You know, I wish Davey also made the cut, but I think Mike White. I recall seeing an interview in 2020, you know, during COVID, they were interviewing lots of other players, and Mike even said that he intentionally sort of like downplayed his final tribal speech just because narratively is way better for a season if a David was to win more so than a Goliath, which I think is so sad because I think Mike could have easily won the season, right? Phenomenal character, great strategist. Like, he's not a player that will make massive flashy moves, but he knows how to navigate the game so bloody well without looking like an alpha like Rob or Tony is, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Mike come back and play. What's your thoughts on seeing Mike here?
We got this jabroni to win instead, so just keep that in mind. We got this guy to win instead. I like Mike White. I like Mike White, and I think I may have brought this up to you before we went live. No, I definitely brought it up to Vee earlier. I thought the leaked cast was fake because Mike White was on it, and it's like White Lotus is one of the biggest shows out there. I can't buy that this man's going to be playing. Even if most of the cast is accurate, there's no way that Mike White is playing. And so when I saw him play, it's like, okay, cool. I'm hot. I like Mike White. Like I'm a big fan, and I hope he does well. And I can only assume that at least half this cast is going to be on White Lotus season 4.
Yeah.
I think my problem is I would have preferred Davey, but like that's literally my only qualm is I would have preferred Davey. Yeah. That's not a knock on Mike White. It's I would, if you're gonna have 3 people from the season, give me Davey instead of Mike White. But like if you're not gonna give me Davey, I would take Mike White. I think he's great television as far as drinking buddies in Survivor history. I'm excited if him and financial analyst Emily Flippen end up together. I would love them to drink wine together. That'd be great. If he were to win or at least make it far in the game, it would be like, okay, you guys actually let this man get this far in the game a second time. The first time, Mike White has done a lot of stuff in his history. School of Rock, Year of the Dog, all this other stuff. Since then, he has done White Lotus, and if you let him get to the end again with this big of a show, then he goes up there as far as like greatest to never win or greatest winners because he has this thing hang over his head of these people didn't vote him out when he has all of this, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to see Mike.
Yeah, and how about you, V? He's obviously in his 40s, great movie director, very creative guy. What's V's like, hang on a second, Mucky, you're assuming
54.
his age. 54, he's in his 50s.
Yeah.
How are his knees going to be for the season then? 50-year-old knees.
Who gives a shit? He won't need him. I'm so excited to see Mike back. I was exactly the same as Drew when I saw that leaked cast list and he was on it. I'm like, he's never playing again. He's got White Lotus money now. He's got no reason to.
Yeah.
And it's not about that. It's because he loves it. And yes, it was probably just giving Jeff a call and saying, "I'm available. Can I come on?" And he's the only person that I'm absolutely fine with that. Him stumbling around the jungle, drinking wine, half-heartedly looking for an idol for that is forever one of my favorite moments of Survivor. And just more messy Mike. Please get to the end. Please let's have him in every episode. He's one of the main reasons I'll tune in anyway. I'm a complete shield for the show, but I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and as Gabe brings up, Mike can use his fame as a weapon, and I'm all for it. And as Danica brings up, it's about the game, not the money. 100%.
Exactly.
Like even for Australia versus the world, David just won, $5.8 million American. I think 9.2 Australian million dollars. I'm pretty sure Janine makes more money in her day-to-day life than what she would if she won Survivor, right?
Yeah.
And yet they're coming back out to play again because they just love the show, right? And they want to be there for the big global championship. And I have the same feeling for Mike. I'm pretty sure he'd make more money staying at home writing the next season of White Lotus than he probably would if he won this season. But he clearly loves the game. And it's people who truly love the game for what it is. Obviously, Mike's had a lot of influence where he stopped Redemption Island from being in San Juan del Sur as well. However, with the next contestant we're going to be talking about, I'm pretty sure Mike White robbed Rick Devens of being a fire token post-shop. I don't even know what it was, but apparently there was an original concept for season 41, and Mike said no. So, shall we move on to the next player? Yeah? Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We've got Rick Devens. Da-da-da-da-da-da. With Drew trying to sober up at the moment with some water. But yeah, Rick Devens. One of my favorite players of all time. I remember when Edge of Extinction was coming out. A lot of people at the time loved Rick Devens or really hated him. I don't know why people hated Rick Devens. He was just such an entertaining character. I think we talked about this, Drew, when I came on to say why Edge of Extinction is one of the greatest seasons of all time, where people are like, oh, but he just idled his way to the very end. He won 4 individual challenges, and I think he misplayed like his first idol, right? He played for David when he didn't need to. And then what is it? He played it at what the final five.
Yeah, there
like
are
a
couple hits and misses there, but like he's great television.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's great television because he's great television, not because he's coach. The first time I watched Edge of Extinction, I was lukewarm on Devins. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Every time that I've done the marathon since then, it's like he's such great television, and I want to see him again. And I felt like he was one of those locks. Whenever they do attorney season again, Rick Devens is going to be on it. Now I do feel like he's probably going to be a target, which he shouldn't be. Like Rick Devens, if you really think about it, Rick Devens didn't really do much on his season. He got voted out twice, and he played a couple idols correctly. He didn't do like he's not some game changer, but because there's this allure around Rick Devens, and he did this podcast with Probst and all this other stuff, I think that's what puts the target on him. I like Devens. I hope he does well.
Yeah. So something here from Danica. I think marathoning the seasons is so much better than weekly. Maybe something we could do leading up to 50, I reckon, Drew. 50 and 50, would you be up for it?
Oh, no, I'm doing 50 and 50. I'm doing 50.
You're doing 50,
I'm doing 50 and 50. I don't know what platform I'm doing it on, but like 50-50 is happening.
You'll find a way. You will find a way. Well, I'm sure we can make it happen here. As well, brother, leading up to season 50. But like with Rick Devens, super excited to see him come and play. I think he will make it really far, just because, as you said, Drew, it's not like he's really done anything specific that's like, oh my God, he's a threat because of this. He was just a great personality. And that was really it. But shall we move on to our first new era player, though?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. None other than coach's favorite, Jonathan. He single-handedly carried his tribe through one challenge. Yeah. And it's the greatest challenge beats of all time. Drew, I'm sure you're waiting for Jonathan to start up on OnlyFans. To join on Aussie. Quickly spill why. Quickly spill why you love Jonathan so much.
I promise this will be the last word. The last time I use this word during this. Fuck Jonathan. Jonathan was such a fun pre-merge character in 42. Mr. Jeff, and him carrying his tribe through that challenge and all of that. And even when he does his whole flashback where, as an audience member, it's very clear that he was being abused as a child, but it's not portrayed as that, where it's like, oh yeah, my dad used to wake us up we were 4 or 5 years old, and he used to make us climb up a mountain and down and back when we were this age. And it like, that's what trained me to be like this. Even then, it's like, okay, whatever. Like, it sucks that you were abused, but fine. At a certain point, it was like, you're a schmuck. You're a schmuck, and everything you've done at the merge, and Lindsay being pissed off at him, and Marianne being pissed off at him, and at Final Tribal, him trying to go to bat for Mike, it just became... I know. I remember where I was when I did the 42 finale. I remember who was on the podcast and everything. So Jonathan is definitely coming back, because of course he is, because he acknowledges Jeff as Mr. Jeff, and he's this larger than life personality. He's coming back, and when he does, I'm gonna hate him. Hate is a strong word, but I'm gonna hate him. And so now we have Jonathan back. I think Jonathan is going to be the Joe Anglem of the season that Joe was in Edge of Extinction, where we're going to milk the shit out of this man. He can win all of our challenges at pre-merge, so that when we merge, we'll just vote this Jamoke out and we'll move on with our lives.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens.
that is my expectation of him as well, where him and Aussie are going to be kept around all pre-merge for challenges, but the second merge comes, that's the first two that's gone. That's my hot predictions. So if Coach Drew ever plays Survivor, watch his only ally be the Golden Boy. How about you, V? Have you got any hot thoughts about Jonathan?
Well, look, there's only a couple of real challenge contenders in this cast, so it would be fascinating to see if they dull down the physical aspect of the challenges and still expect someone like Jonathan to succeed. I think that'll be fascinating to watch. So yeah, but otherwise it's going to be a very, very boring challenges where you just see like Jonathan, Carl, and Joe and D sort of sprint on ahead and everyone else is just struggling along. So yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe if they pair him up with some of the old schoolers, it could be like, he's carrying Borneo. He's carrying his old schoolers on his back.
Just put them in a papoose and he can just carry them along. Yeah,
exactly. Aussie tribe going to make him fight Jonathan all the time. Yeah, pretty much. All right, let's.
Jonathan's my last person on my list.
Is he number 4?
Really?
He's number 5. Jonathan is the last person on the list as far as I need him to go early. He's not going to, but
so it was Coach,
Colby, Aussie, Stephanie, Aubrey,
and Jonathan.
And John. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, I think you said that. Yeah.
Colby.
I won't make you count, Drew.
Colby, Aussie, Stephanie, Jonathan, Aubrey, Coach.
You said Coach.
Okay, so yeah, there are 5 or 6. Like I said at the beginning, there's 5 or 6. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go on a wee bit of a season skip as well. You're not missing out on a lot of great people. I know this may be kind of hot, but I wouldn't even mind seeing like Mike Gabler show up. Just because he donated $1 million. I thought that would be somewhat interesting. Do I need to see him again? No, but I wouldn't mind it. I can see Drew's there like, what the fuck, Mucky?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy.
I think you nearly gave yourself a migraine with how hard you rolled your eyes there, Drew.
But also like Marianne as well. I would have loved to see Marianne, like Carolyn. We've spoken to death of Carolyn. Omar, exactly. Even though I'm not a massive fan of her, but Shan as well. Shan started out the new era,
There are so many people from 41 to 44.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we get Jonathan.
Now, we're going into seasons that I haven't seen. I've only seen one person. I've heard a lot about some of them, but I don't fully know their game. So you guys are going to have to explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, okay? Because I'm just a new era hater, and I hate new era. That's my dragon coming out. We've got Emily. Financial analyst Emily. And V, why should I be excited to see Emily come back and play?
Smart, strong woman. Just get that out the way. Glass of wine in her hand, just like Mike. Mm-hmm. Get that out of the way. I'm interested to see what she does when she plays again. I've only ever seen these series once as well. I'm a casual viewer when it comes to sort of 41 to 48. So
yeah,
I won't have a huge amount to say. It will be over to Drew, but I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah. All right, Drew. Why should I be excited to see Emily come back for 50?
Emily, so when I first watched her, it's like, I don't know if I get along with her. But then I watched 45 live, then I watched 45 during the marathon. And there was a moment during the premiere or episode 2 where her tribe is talking about their signs, their astrology signs, and who really built the pyramids, and she's sitting there outwardly judging them. I'm like, that's the person I would latch on to, because that's the type of person that's like, yeah, when people, and like, this is no knock on people that do astrology, but whenever people bring that up to me, it's just like, oh, so I'm a Taurus. Only Tauruses can be stubborn. That's crazy. So if I'm not a Taurus and I'm stubborn, clearly I was just born at the wrong time. And so she's outwardly judging these people. It's like, yes, because I also think it's stupid when people say, oh, you're clearly a Taurus because you're stubborn. It's like, oh, so only Tauruses are stubborn. And then when she's, as a person that doesn't believe in conspiracy theories, and people are talking about, oh yeah, such and such built the pyramids, and she's like, this is dumb as shit. And I'm like, yes, Emily Flippin, you're right. I brought this up at the beginning of this. I think Emily Flippin might be the person that votes out Siri, or at least tries to lead a charge against her. And if it happens like that, fine. But I feel like she's one of the people in the cast I would probably relate to the most, because she thinks, because I think very logically. I don't believe in, I don't think in terms of, well, this person's this sign, which means that I have to vote them out because clearly they're going to do this. It's like, no, I'm going to believe just based off of what I am seeing in real time, like what this person is actually doing. So I'm a big fan of Emily, and that was not the case the first time I watched the season, but she has grown on me in the one time I've watched the season since then.
Yeah. Just some comments here as well. Emily did what Aussie couldn't do in one season. She actually learned in the season to play differently and improve.
That's why I love Gabe.
Oh my god, that was the best ever. Her confessional was awesome. Emily don't give a shit about reputations. She wants you out, we'll get you out. Yeah, I've heard phenomenal things about Emily, and good old Erica. I prayed every night for Emily to come back. Well, thank you, Erica. You single-handedly brought Emily Flippin onto this flipping show. See what I did there?
We have
fun. Yeah, let's quickly move on to the next player, because I do have a hot opinion on this next player. Well, I've actually got two hot opinions, actually. And it is D. You know, Jeff, and when it came to reading out who's going to be on the cast, he said that Q is not a one-name player, he's a one-letter player. But what about D? Sounds like one letter, first of all.
Exactly.
And then second of, well, actually, I've got two hot things I want to bring up, and I'm going to dump all this on you, Drew. So you better be ready.
Do V versus.
All right, I'm going to dump it all on V. I mean, that's pretty much what I normally do. I just put all my emotional trauma on V anyways. But
oh, sure.
Yeah, so V.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
She is going to do the challenge.
Okay, yeah.
She's on the show, The Challenge.
Yeah.
Right? New era contestant, gone and done another show. It hasn't aired yet, but apparently she's on The Challenge.
And she's a winner.
That's my other point. She's a winner. So for a cast of, oh, we're not going to cast any winners. That's why your Robs and Tonys and Pars and Sanders aren't on it. We're going to bring D on. Now, I'm glad that D is on, because she's one of the few, you know, sort of 44 to 48 names I've heard a lot about. I've heard she's one of the best winners. No, she is the best winner of the new era, one of the strongest players of the new era. So she's gone and done another TV show. Whether production knew about it, I don't know. Maybe there was a secret source. But I still think that it's so bullshit that Carolyn gets cut for doing Traders, but with D, she's still able to do the challenge and come back.
I guess it's all about those relationships with production, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
She's just tighter with the team.
She did Jeff's podcast.
Yeah. Maybe that's the secret source. If Carolyn did Jeff's podcast, she would be on season 15.
If you metaphorically fillet Jeff, he'll allow you back.
True.
Is that all it takes?
Yeah.
Because he has never answered my call, so
exactly. as long as you just do 100% everything Jeff wants you to do, which still isn't even enough, then he will love you. Yeah, but yeah. Also from Gabe here, why are we bringing back winners? I don't need winners after last All Stars, which is all winners. Didn't hesitate to backstab the Screen Crush to win the game. Well, look, I've heard phenomenal things about D. I really have. And Drew, I'd love for you to tell me, what are some things about D that makes you such a great winner and a great player?
Yeah, I mean, quick. I'll speed run this. D's my favorite winner of the new era besides Rachel. And I think the prime example is she used the flirt tactic with Austin and won the game. And and she's not even with Austin now. Like it was strictly a flirt thing to win the game. And I know people love to put Parvati on this pedestal of, oh, she did this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, D did the exact same shit, except for when D won the game, she didn't have Serena, all these other people carrying her through the game. D was doing a lot of the shit by herself. And so when I did the marathon last summer, I said, D's a better winner, not better all around character. D's a better winner than Parvati. I stick to that because Parvati in her season and her alliance, she was probably number 4 or 5. D was number 1 in her alliance the entire time. But people don't want to hear that because Parvati is such a god or whatever. D is great. Yeah. And if it wasn't like, I don't want winners back in the season. That's my only qualm, I guess. But like, D is great, and I'm excited to have her back.
Yeah. Well, we've already talked about this a lot, but like, I've said I wanted massive characters, like massive players to come on for season 50. And for New Era, like, even though I haven't seen her season, D is someone I'm glad to see on just because of all the great, phenomenal things I've heard about her. Have you got any massive thoughts on D as well?
No. I'm happy to keep this train rolling. Yeah. Unless Drew, do you have something else?
No, I agree.
No? Well, something I do want to bring up, her big toe could help her again. Yeah. Now, what size feet does she have, Drew?
No, it's not that. Her big toe is abnormally bigger than all the rest of her toes.
Ah, because I was going to say, I'm a US size 15.
Whew.
Yeah, that's my shoe size. I can't get shoes here in New Zealand. I'd get a friend from Australia to send me a pair of shoes.
I'm a US size 12, and I'm 5.
Damn.
Yeah. These are my shoes. This is the shoes that I wear on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, like, and even with size 15, that's for my feet to be comfortable, because with size 14, my toes are right at the very end, and that's how I get like ingrown toenails. So
this is fascinating, guys.
Yeah, so when I saw that, she had a big toe, it's like, oh my gosh, what if it could be 20s, ginormous feet, Anything to have anything in common. Also, Greg Michaela should have been here. Hang on. Trailers to NBC and the Challenge MTV, which is part of Paramount Plus family with CBS, but that doesn't explain no Michelle, Jay, Michaela, Tommy, or Natalie. Michaela should have been on 50.
It's there's so much going on, it's so complicated, and it is about the relationships, and I think it's just how the industry works.
Well, I will put in this cheeky plug. I did release a video about a couple months ago on why I think Jeff Probst needs to be sacked, why he needs to be kicked out of production, and it's because of shit like this, where it's like, oh, I want you to do exactly everything I want you to do. You can't do any other shows, but it's fine if you're Siri, or it's fine if I do a podcast with you, but how dare you do something good for your reality TV career that isn't stroking my own ego? So if you want to hear my more in-depth thoughts about that, check out the video. I will be having a 3-part series. I announced on Instagram last night that I'm going to be releasing a video on why I think American Survivor needs to be cancelled. And there's going to be 3 parts to it. And the first part should hopefully be releasing tonight. I said last night, look, I lied to you, lied to Instagram, lied to my friends at MacPack, but most importantly, I lied to myself. All right, so don't worry. I'll make sure the video is out as soon as I can. And JLP, we need him on US version. Exactly. JLP actually has a personality. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next player. We've got Tiffany, season 46. And I'll be perfectly honest, I know nothing on Tiffany. I've heard of the other players on season 46, but Drew, why is Tiffany so special? Why is Tiffany here on 50?
Tiffany's the closest thing we have to Sierra Dawn Thomas as far as game changers to 50 comparisons. I like Tiffany. Tiffany was a part of the main trio on her OG tribe in 46. Her biggest moment is Banu got on his knees to beg her to keep him safe during 46. And like my favorite memory of Tiffany, and it's not even her really, but she's a part of the main the three from that tribe. I'm shocked that they brought her back. I'm cool that she's not one of my favorites. I'm cool that she did because of the diversity at this point, like because we need it.
Yeah.
But I'm shocked that they did because we could have had Marianne, Sydney, Sean Rector, a few of the Earl Cole, a lot of these folks. But I'm never gonna bitch that Tiffany is there primarily because of the diversity at this point. I'm shocked that they have 3 people from 46. I like 46. I know a lot of people don't. I wouldn't have thought that she would be the third from this season.
Yeah, and something I do just want to quickly talk about as well. As I said, I haven't seen the season, so I can't weigh an opinion. But the 2 seasons I've heard the most crap from is season 46 and season 48 in terms of being the worst of the new era seasons. Would you guys say that that's fairly accurate?
48, yes. 46, no.
How about you, V?
I didn't mind. I didn't mind bits of 48.
Yeah, we both agree. We like the pre-merge.
Yeah, the last episode was good. Yeah, maybe.
We'd be trauma bonded all season.
Yeah. Was it one of those moments where the best part of the season was when the credits rolled up at the very end? Like, thank God it's over.
No.
Oh, no.
Was that your guess?
No, the finale was good. It honestly was just the merge part of the season up until it was Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
It's with Stockholm syndrome at this point, I think.
Yeah. I'd want Shan, Marion, or Drea over her. I personally don't really want to see Drea ever come back. Just, from stuff I've heard between her and Omar, which I'm sure everyone's heard about. If you haven't, I won't talk about it, but just search it up. But pretty awful. She was picked for Q. It feels Jeff said she got into fights with Q, and that's the most notable thing. Yeah, I was like, really? Your only thing? It's like if they brought, like Cass and Tony together. Like Cass, Tony spoke llama for her, and that's all you have to say. Yeah.
Well, they should have done that with Jerry and Colby then.
Yeah, exactly. 46 has a horrible pre-merge, carried by merge, and hatred cast had for each other, not the gameplay. I like 48, but also have an autistic daughter, so it's nice to be able to show her that. Also, really like Camilla. I'm glad she's back. Well,
yeah, I agree.
Let's move on to the next player. And Q, just like D, the one-letter man, I've heard about this guy. I've heard about the hide-and-seek shenanigans. I've heard that there's a crazy, chaotic player. We've spoken about him when we did our rumored cast list, who's one of the players that made it on from that. Drew, what's so great about Q? Why does why does Q deserve to, like, it's been 2 hours. Why does Q deserve to be here?
He's better for me, and this is me. He's better coach. He's better Philip Shepard. He's better Crazy Debbie. He's the best. He's the best version of that archetype.
Yeah,
I don't get annoyed watching, and I know that is. I know I'm in the minority when I say that. But he's the best version of the archetype because with Coach, and we've talked about this already, there are versions of Coach that are just problematic to me, and there are versions of Philip Shepard that are just problematic to me. And there are versions of Crazy Debbie where it's like, this is clearly fake, which is her Game Changers version. This is clearly she is playing a character in this. I believe that Q is exactly how he was in 46. And I believe that Q will play the exact same, not change a single thing for 50. Yeah. And that is, he is peak television. I'm not rooting for Q. I hope Q doesn't win, all of that. But the way I feel about Q is the way that random people feel about Coach, where I want him on my television.
Yeah. Something that Gabe does bring up here is I do worry we'll get a worse version of Q now. There's something I have sort of seen with like reality TV stars who become a massive name, right? It's like I know that the Golden Gods talked about it, where he said that he now feels like he's playing a character more so than himself, right? He's now the Golden God and has to fit the sort of like persona. I do sort of worry about that. Also comment here, Coach Drew, those players who saw return aren't great. And Riz God about to be a 2-time winner. Oh. Well, maybe. We'll get to 49 in a second. BV, any other thoughts on Q before we move on?
Yeah, and look, I've got to go as well, but I'm looking forward to seeing Q. I do agree with Gabe that he may become a caricature of himself. I feel like there were flashes of actually hard strategy within him, and I'd like to see if maybe that comes out a bit more. But he was chaotic. He was fun. So, yeah, I'm interested to see him on. I also want to say this has been fun. This has been a marathon. You guys keep on going without me. And I am looking forward to this. I love a returning season, and, you know, it's not that serious. So I am going to enjoy it, and I'm going to enjoy Australia versus the world as well. So we've got some good Survivor action coming up. So I'll say farewell. Thank you, boys. Thank you, chat. And I'll see you guys later.
All right. Have a wonderful day, V. Chat soon. Bye. Well, Drew.
All right, Mucky. Let's speed run through these.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Well, it's going to be you just telling me who these people are. All right. So let's move on from Q to Charlie. I did find it really funny when Jeff was like, it's going to be a cruel summer, but, you know, wait, no, it was a cruel summer, but let's hope he shakes it off right before season 50. You know, the Taylor Swift sort of puns there. Yeah. But, all I know about Charlie is that he deserved to win the season. Him and Aubrey, I guess, have something in common, but...
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I put Charlie in the same category of Aubrey. I don't have a problem with Charlie. His fans piss me off so much because it's like, sorry that your guy didn't win. Get over it. And they can't go over the fact that their god didn't win the game over Kenzie. So he's in the same category as Aubrey. It's like, yeah, they're fine, but their fans piss me off enough to the point where it's like, no, I don't want you to win. I don't want you to win, because if you do win, then it validates them.
Yeah. No, I did feel that, because there definitely been some players, especially on Australian Survivor, where it's like, I don't want you to win because I just hate your fandom. Nothing against the player, but I just hate your fandom, and I just want them to cry and scream.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just want him to lose so badly that his fans just shut up.
Yeah.
And the fans are so annoying. And that, as Forrest Gump once said, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Charlie even says Kenzie's win, she deserves it. At least he didn't pull an Aubrey. Yeah. I mean, I do think every player there's one.
You would have voted for Charlie. You would have voted for Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Like every player who wins, they obviously did something right to win, whether if you like them as a winner or not, right? Exactly. And I think, there definitely been runner-ups where it's like, oh my God, like why didn't they win? You know? However, clearly they just did something wrong in that game that just made people not respect them to win. And while we think Coach sounds like a total tourist, right? But Yeah, everyone deserves to win one way or another. Scanning, y'all. I'm not sure what that means. Do you know what that's referencing?
I don't know either. I actually don't
I
know.
don't know. Awesome. All right. Well, let's quickly move on out to season 48. Oh wait, sorry. We got Genevieve. We got Genevieve. I do know who Genevieve is though, so I guess we can have a good cheeky chat about her. I'm excited to see her come in and play. She was a good player, a good strategist. I was really sad to see that she went out at the final 5. I would have loved to see her make the final tribal council. Her move on Kashan was pretty great. I'm a little bit worried because she was obviously, a lot of fans sort of threw at her that, she's the next Parvati. Well, I even saw people relate to her to almost like a Kim Spradlin, almost, right? And
yeah. I mean, she was Kim Spradlin for me. Like, Genevieve was great. And what I wanted when me and Jake were doing the podcast, I was like, I want Genevieve and Rachel sitting there next to some random Jamoke, so that the two of them can fight over it. And now that Rachel's out of the equation and we just have Genevieve, I'm really excited to see Genevieve play again. And I think because her name is not that big yet, she can kind of get through the first few rounds where people are trying to meta target the big names.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm very high on Genevieve.
Yeah. I'm high on Genevieve. I think she will go really far. My only concern is the labels of, she's like the next Parvati or the next Kim Spradlin. Is that going to be a negative connotation of, how like we see with Parvati and all girl alliances? It's like, oh my God, that chick is actually intelligent. She's like the next coming of Parvati. Oh shit, we got to get her out, Like, I'm a little bit worried that same sort of thing can happen. And Genevieve can work with anyone. She would even work with you.
She can even work with you. Yeah, she can even work with you, I guess.
Yeah, well, I will admit there's a massive compliment. I don't think a lot of people would want to work with me.
I'd work with you. It's fine.
Really?
No, I wouldn't.
You're making me blush.
All right, let's move on. Let's all right.
We got Camilla from the recent season 48. The only thing I've seen of Camilla is that she gave one of the best I got you bro moments in Survivor history, where she pretty much helped elevate Kyle's game way above Joe and Eva's. So yeah, but that's all I know about Camilla. So
the jury
tell me more.
Voted for her to win if she had gotten there. Camilla is my favorite person on the season after my winner pick, Bianca, got voted out. I'm excited to see her play again. It's sad that she has 2 people from her season, but like, I think Camilla could do well.
Yeah. What is so special about her game that, like, why should I feel hyped to see
her number one, Kyle? They got swapped in a minority together, and they were able to play off the fact that they didn't like each other and they weren't working with each other to their swap tribe, and everyone bought into it. Then they end up making to the Final 4 together, and no one ever suspected the fact that they were working together so closely. And when Camilla prompted Kyle to bring up during Final Tribal, hey, actually, I had this duel with Camilla the entire time, Eva didn't want to believe it, even though it was the case. Like, they had been a tight duo that was so tight, yet no one recognized it. And I felt like Camilla was the brains of that operation. So yeah, Camilla's a great character, great player, and I'm excited to see her play, hopefully without Kyle.
Yeah. And even Danica says, I love Camilla. She should have won and would have won if she made top 3. Camilla and her ally ran the season in secret. Like, we almost had something similar in Australian Survivor Times vs. Rebels, where on this one tribe, they called themselves the Invisible Hand, where they were the one constantly pulling the strings, but they were never the face of the move with Mark and Eden. And it was great gameplay to watch, especially in the opening couple of weeks. Camilla's in trouble because she's entering the season with 3 people here from season 48. Well, let's move on to the next player in terms of Joe. And I've heard a lot about this guy. I've heard he's a very honor, integrity kind of guy. He was tight with Eva. That's it. That's all I know.
Joe, I'm obligated to root for him because he's black. But outside of that, he preaches this honor integrity BS that coach does. But like because of his backstory and like stuff that he's dealt with in his personal life, you always felt like you were connecting with him. I feel like sadly, I feel like he would bond with Coach and Colby and Aussie and Jonathan and all these people that I don't like, which sucks because I actually prefer Joe over all of those people.
Yeah.
But yeah, his entire storyline this season was he was the great protector of Eva. And that's fine, especially when you know his backstory about what happened to his sister before he went and played and everything. Like, you understand it. If he doesn't go out there preaching this honor, integrity, honesty, only the strong will survive BS, I would be more willing to root for him, but I fear that he will. And he's also on the older end of the cast. Yeah. And like I said, I'm obligated to root for him because he's a person of color. But
yeah. I think Joe would protect Camille and Carl. I see the 348 people sticking together, especially because they were made top 4 together. He's a mateship guy, and Joe lives what Coach lies about. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He lives what Coach lies about.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget, Coach took the lie detector test, but only took it at home.
He's better coach. Like Q is better coach. Q's better coach because he's better television. Joe's better coach because he actually, for the most part, tells the truth and is honor, integrity, and all of this other stuff. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the last known player before we potentially talk about the 2 rumored players in terms of Kyle. And I've heard around that Kyle is also up there with one of the great winners of the new era. Would you say that that's a fair?
For me, he's number 4 of the new era winners. But like I said about D, I don't need winners this season. So like it's not a knock on Kyle. I like Kyle. I don't want winners on the season. And that's just a personal preference. So
yeah.
But he was a great winner. Like I said, for me, it goes. You can switch them: Rachel, Marianne, and D, and Kyle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've heard great things about Kyle. We've talked a little bit about him with Camille already, where they sort of had a secret duo, the entire way through. Gabe says him and D are top 2 winners.
Okay.
Of the new era, and like D had a group that ran game who didn't believe the honest stuff, just took advantage of it. Kyle was my win pick from day 1 when he accidentally broke his pitcher and then helped the other guy fill his team player, and he won me at that move. Yeah, he seems like a great guy, just like a standard great.
Watch the pre-merge of 48. It's great.
Watch the pre-merge. All right, I will.
You know, pre-merge of 48. It's good shit.
When you do 50 and 50, I will cover the new era seasons with you because those are the seasons I haven't seen. So that
we're locking it in.
We'll lock it in. I will jump into here and there with Game Changers, Edge of Extinction because I have my personal favorite seasons, maybe Caramon as well. But for new era, I will bring as many bottles of rum as I can handle, and I'll sit through it. As much
I've had
you've done. We'll call it Drunk Mucky and Drew talks Survivor.
All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
All right, so that's pretty much all the known players, and we've got season 49. I couldn't find the photos in time for the live, unfortunately. So, Drunk Survivor, you're damn right. That's what Drew and I are gonna do. Yeah, so one of them, so I believe Parker brought him up the Rizzler? Is that his name?
Rizgod.
Rizgod.
The Rizgod.
Is that his actual name?
No. So Rizzo comes from the org community. He played a lot of online, so to the point where like I've known people that have played with him and have hosted him. Yeah. And so when he got announced for the cast for 49, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've played in a lot of similar games as this guy, but I've never played with him. And then when he started getting rumored for 50, it's like, oh shit, there's a possibility that he wins 49 and then plays 50. Now, opinions are torn on people's thoughts on him and from the org side of the community. For people that don't know, orgs are online reality games. It's basically you're playing Survivor online. He went to college 10 minutes away from where I live. Similar to like Tori or Chanel or a lot of these other people, or Carolyn that play a lot of that played online games. I'm always going to root for them. I never like people that come in with their own nicknames, because he went by Riz God during his org community time as well. Like, he went by that name in our community. If he somehow wins 49 and does well in 50, great. Good for him.
Yeah, and what about Savannah, as Gabe brings up here? Riz God and Savannah are the names, and the lowest place here, her name is Tiffany at Final 8, so be ready for the players to make top 8.
Yeah. Savannah, sure. Like, if I don't pick Riz God for my winner pick for 49, it'll be Savannah, because I think they're going to have 3 winners on this season. So one of the 2 is winning.
Yeah. He also has a podcast. Good Riz God. Let's start a podcast. Let's start a podcasting award.
I'm currently playing in an org right now with someone who is friends with Rizzo in real life. And they haven't heard from him in a while, which leads me to believe that he's probably in Fiji playing Survivor right now. So,
yeah. That's pretty wild. Like, because I've played in a couple orgs myself, mostly when I was younger, going through high school and like during small bits of my first year of uni as well. And like it was fun. It was right. I never got too super into it because there were some people who just took it way too seriously. And I was like, it's a game on, like, for me, it was Instagram and Facebook, right? It's like, chill out. It's just a game on Instagram. People treating it like real life to them. Yeah, exactly. I recall, like, I think I shared the story with you, but at one point I actually got cancelled on Instagram.
I myself have been cancelled from an org.
Yeah, because essentially what happened, for everyone who hasn't heard this story, so I used to play a lot of Instagram Survivor games, and I'm someone who's really good at building one-on-one connections in person. That's why I love retail work. That's why I'm very good at customer service, right? And I was chatting with this guy because I think he was based in Aussie. He didn't have many like friends in real life and stuff. I think he was very introverted, very quiet and stuff. But since I was just chatting to him over Instagram, I think he like found like a genuine friend in me, which to me, it was just a stranger online because I've never met any of these people, so I didn't really care. But he ruined a couple of my plans, and I was like, I'm just gonna vote him out. Right. And so I voted him out because he was just like more of a liability than an asset. And he was very hurt by it and was like, Mucky and I had a genuine friendship, yada, 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 and stuff. And then he started making up lies and stuff like that. And yes, everyone on Instagram just hated my guts. And so I deleted that account and made a new one. But people very quickly realized that the new account was me. And they're like, fuck off, Mucky. So I got driven off there again, pretty much like a witch during the same witch trials. But that's my experience with orgs. Pretty much is just people who don't really have many. Yeah,
the org community or take us very seriously. Messy. I love it. I love it with all my heart. But the org community they're Star Wars fans. They're Star Wars.
Yeah,
fans.
Pretty much. Yeah, but are we talking about Disney fans or George Lucas?
No, they're Star Wars fans as far as. If Star Wars fans are upset with something, they'll just bully the shit out of people until... Yeah.
But anyways, that does bring us to the end of the Season 50 cast breakdown. 2.5 hours in, Drew. How drunk are you? Can you walk in a straight line?
We'll find out, but no.
We'll find out.
No, I'm good. Like this is not my first rodeo. No, I've enjoyed shooting shit with both of you two. Like I said at the beginning of this, I am excited for season 50. I think that this season's going to be better than Game Changers and probably better than Caramel. And it just sucks. It sucks that they advertise it as one thing and we're going to get another. But I do think this cast will deliver.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting because this is going to be this is coming out after Australia vs. World, because we had Winners at War and Australian Survivor All Stars come out at the same time. So I think it would be cool if they both aired at the same time. So yeah, I'm really excited for Australia vs. World. Thanks for doing it in the evening, our time, Mucky. Well, I've been nice to you guys sometime, you bloody Americans. You know, I can't keep forcing Drew to wake up at 4 a.m. every time we do a podcast. No, but I genuinely do feel really bad. You can even ask Vee. When I have random catch-ups with her, I'm always like, Vee, like, I always feel so bad, like, that Drew's waking up at 4 a.m. and I'm just here, like, in the evening. So I'm, like, I said at the start of the podcast, Drew, you are the biggest legend of Mucky Hope Productions, and I'm so grateful to be podcasting with you, man. But
it was fun. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, and Australia vs. World will be starting in August. I know a lot of the rumors are saying June and whatnot, but Michelle has stormed up Channel 10 and she's given us an answer. Not a specific day in June, not June, August just yet, but sometime in August, which is pretty exciting. I'll be going to Australia for that season as well. So if you're around and see me at a watch party, feel free to come up and say hi. But yeah, for the next couple of months before Australia vs. World starts, we're going to be doing a lot of Australia vs. World coverage on Wednesday night. Michelle, Richard, and I are going to be getting together to talk about the Golden God. You know, who are his friends? Who are his enemies? What can we expect of him heading into Australia vs. World? We're going to be doing one Australian player a week, one Australian player and a world player for, you know, right up until the very end when Australia vs. World comes out. I'm also going to be dropping a 3-part series on why American Survivor needs to be cancelled. So stay in and tune for that. We're going to have a lot of like great off-season, like season 50 coverage, as we spoke about live 50 and 50. Why not? Let's bloody do it. And season 49 will be coming out as well. And I believe Sam is keen to do Traders. So we might do the Celebrity Traders edition as well. And the Amazing Race Australia. There's so many shows, Drew. I can't even keep up. There's too many bloody shows going on. But if you're keen on all that stuff, Squid Game's around the corner. I'll be covering that too. If you're keen on that, make sure you smash the subscribe button for some cheeky, naughty times. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below. Who's your winner pick for season 50? Are you hyped for the season? Do you think it's a bit of a flop? Who do we miss out on? But yeah, leave it all down in the comments below. Like, subscribe. I'm your host, Mucky Hope. Once again, thank you so much, Drew, for coming on. You're an absolute legend. And I'll catch you all next time. Have a good night, guys. Bye.